Hey everybody, I'm TJ Majors, spotter of the 6-Cup car, and I'll had ARCA this weekend and truck, so I'm with the ARCA car.
TJ, did you blame me for the Jimmy Johnson wreck?
No, point? Someone told me. I asked somebody what happened. They said the 33.
Earl come down there and said that you blame my driver.
Somebody walked by and said the same thing.
Brett Griffin, spotter for Austin Hill yesterday. We did not wreck Jimmy Johnson. Let's clear the air on that right now. Freddie, what's up?
What's up? Unfortunately, I think it might have been my fault.
Spotter, I was close too.
Spotter for Bubba Wallace, and I think that Jimmy lifted, reacting to us damn near stuffing the 4 in the fence, and we had a little rub and some smoke there, and that was my fault because I thought Bubba was committed to the middle, and all of a sudden he started to dart right, and I was like, outside! And,
but that Corey stare down really got me there.
But what's up, Casey?
Hello, Casey Boat. Back from Kansas with what quite possibly was the closest finish in NASCAR Cup Series history. What'd y'all think of the race?
Well, I'm back from Kansas with a coffee cup with Tito's and water in it at 9:30 in the morning, thanks to a good friend of mine that, man, we've had a cocktail or two over the years. My buddy Joel Edmonds, fishing spotter on Twitter, probably the happiest guy you'll ever meet in your life. He's in the house.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, I mean, if we got more requests for Joel to come back than I think any other guest we've ever had in the history of this show. So
that's sad.
I really don't remember anything you said on the show because I was drunk the last time you were here. But
it doesn't look like this episode will be much different.
Yeah, Joel's got 2 beers in front of him, a Bloody Mary, and
a cooler about my right foot.
I don't know if TJ even knows this. You know, he's the data king. You were the second most popular show last year when you came on here.
Wow, and
it took something pretty spectacular to beat you. It was that Josh Williams parking on the front stretch and walking off. So you would.
And I like that show too. You know, it's kind of strange. I couldn't believe how popular it got, and it was just us being us. You know, so maybe I found my calling or something.
Reality.
Yeah, Mayberry podcast.
So for those of you who don't know Joel, a longtime spotter in the sport, spent the most years in his career spotting for the legendary Greg Biffle.
Hall of Fame nominee.
Yesterday you came out of partial retirement to spot for Riley Herbst.
Yep. Riley's doing 4 races this year at Rick Ware, and great kid. You know, he's trying to figure out what he's going to do next, trying to get some Sunday stuff going. And obviously, I'm not there every week anymore, but I did find out that there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, silly season's usually about 10 races from the end, 3 races from the end. I never heard as much stuff in the last 2 days. I mean, it's
ramping up.
Stuff going on.
Care to share?
Yeah, what's the best thing you heard?
Since I'm part-time and I'm trying to do 2 more. And every time I show, have y'all noticed it rains?
Every time you get there,
yeah. It rained out of Daytona, and yesterday I was sitting there and it just kept building.
I was texting you, stop coming to races.
Yeah, what's your next 2? Like extra clothes.
I got Richmond. Yeah, I'll tell you guys, I got Richmond and Nashville for a Cup. And
both
this
have
past
rained
weekend,
before.
Yep. And famous for rain.
Can I make a request for Nashville that we just all stay over and do a show live there Monday morning somewhere?
I'm staying no matter what.
Because I'm staying no matter what, too.
Hey, I can do whatever if I can get a dog sitter.
I'll send Meg up to your house.
But, yeah, that'd be fine. I'll bring him down, let Moses have him for a couple days. But I had Cam Waters in the truck this week because I do the 66.
Who's
that runs
that?
part-time for Thorsport.
Okay.
You guys should talk because he's from Australia?
Yeah, he's from Australia.
Oh.
Super nice guy. I did him at Martinsville. And we ran good until we knocked the radiator out of it, which was probably 60% my fault because they were check it up, and we picked one of our teammates up and crammed him into the outside wall. But he, I think, is the Ford answer to the SVG, you know. And I think he's, this was the first 1.5 miles he's ever run. And we tried to start getting going, and I said, can he run the top? Because when we get ready for he said, no, he don't run the top. He won't run it in the simulator. So I knew it was going to be a challenge, but we'll get to that later because I think there was an episode towards the end. Somebody said I was like on the elevator.
I seen him in Martinsville. I thought he did a really good job, and you could see he was. A lot of times guys are intimidated by Martinsville because it's just long straightaways and you got to stop. And he was charging entry. I was like, wow. He's got that down pat, but that might come back to bite him at some point, and eventually.
Well, it was me too. We went out in about 5 laps at Martinsville, and the crew chief's like, "Hey, what?" I said, "He's just kind of slipping up on it." And next thing I know, I'm like, "Hey, bud, you got to come back about a car length and a half there. You can't go that far." Yeah.
He's. Did you learn any new lingo on the radio?
just the mate, because you never get mate back from anybody, but it was like 10-4 mate, or
Yeah.
he's, you can tell whatever that series they run is over there, they do the same as us, because they're good with their fans, they're good with their, getting the stuff on and off. And I mean, he's a quick learner. I mean, I thought for a mile and a half he did pretty. Same with Riley yesterday. I didn't realize that, but Herbst has run some cup races, we all know, but that was his first mile and a half.
Oh, really?
So he's super nervous, because it's a total different deal. I mean, I feel like I could run a speedway until somebody checked up.
For 80% of the race, we could. I agree. Yeah.
And yesterday Riley obviously struggled a little bit, but like to your point, it's his first race, and if you're off the smallest bit, it's you're buried in the pack and not getting out of it.
Yeah, we got towards the end. We were at the back. Obviously, we qualified back there, and they came up on us, got us lapped, and he made one mistake and touched the wall. But then, later on in the race, you're running between 5th and 6th. I'm like, hey, bud, that's 5th in front, 6th behind, and unless you let them by, they can't get by.
Yeah.
And he raced respect. He did good. So just trying to get laps, trying to get them all. We got all we could.
Yeah.
I think we were about 3 off, but
I got a question for all y'all. So we fired off every run on stickers after a caution or stage break really tight. And obviously we'd go out there and run 30, 35 laps, and then we would pit, and then we would come back out on stickers under green. And the last half of that run, we would trend really loose. Like the handling of the car changed completely from, new tires starting under green versus pitting and coming out under green. Did y'all's cars change a lot under the green flag cycle versus not?
Well, our Bubba said yesterday, which we were not very good yesterday.
Was your answer?
I said, but.
Oh.
I thought the other one.
with an F.
It might have been. But
That's what I thought I heard.
so I was getting ready to say something else, but like our car wasn't very good yesterday. But let me tell you something. If that race would have gone 100 laps where we couldn't pit, Brad Keselowski was going to blow everybody's doors off.
Oh, yeah.
Because he would struggle and it got better the first half of the run, but the first 2 runs, he would struggle pretty bad for about 20 laps, and then here he comes. And it wouldn't, he'd be a straightaway back, and I'm like, all right, 6 is coming again. And he'd blow by us and drive by 3 more
Once
guys.
he
But then we
grinds
had
the
a
splitter
pit.
off here, he's going to be up here in about 15
But the
laps.
problem was him, the runs weren't long enough. You're only running 30, 40 laps at a time, and then he would never.
Well, we had a really bad day on just on pit road cycle stuff. We got blocked in, had to come back in and tighten the wheel up just to make sure. And that last restart before the very end there, we restarted 26th.
Wow.
And we drove to 4th, and that was still going to be with Denny and Chris had to pit still. Martin was going to win that race, and we were probably going to finish second. And we weren't going to catch Martin. We were about 3 seconds behind him, and I think we were 0.3 faster than him a lap with 7 to go, and that's when the caution came out. But yeah, we got a little bit better. We just didn't have track position. We couldn't restart 13th or something like that. The one time we did fall back pretty hard, but like Freddie would say, it would come on. I mean, we were the lap times we would run at the end of a run, were ridiculous.
My favorite part of the race, watching it, was stage 3.
You're supposed to be spotting. You were just watching.
And I was watching. I was watching for the most part.
That might tell a little bit.
That explains why we almost
That's
got
why you wrecked Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson wants to talk.
Yeah, way to
wrecked
go,
Jimmy Johnson.
man.
I wrecked Corley
7
Joy.
time.
I
Good
almost
job.
wrecked Harrison Burton. But stage 3, we start that stage, and obviously there were a lot of cautions. But at the end of the race, that's the most laps the majority of guys had on their tires the entire time because we had pitted so early and just literally try to make it on fuel. And I kept telling Austin, so-and-so's in the fence, no caution. I bet 10 guys in those last 5 laps before that last caution came out. That was the best racing I had seen all night.
If you look, there's pictures of Larson's right fronts coming apart.
Oh, yeah.
I know Ty Gibbs had a right front come apart. Something happened to the 77. I don't know I know he pit under green. I don't know if he had a tire come apart.
Yep.
So there was guys having issues. To your point, I mean, I watched Reddick. Reddick was bouncing off the wall in that run every
I think
lap.
Reddick bounced off every wall, every corner.
Every week.
Nobody loves this car more than Tyler Reddick because if he would have done that in
away
the
with
old
it.
car, it would have
Oh,
been done.
dude.
He'd be done.
You're
I
right
flew
front
home with him.
smoking.
He looked pretty tired when I saw it.
I want to see his mouthpiece thing.
We always talk about let the talent of the drivers be shown, and a lot of times in this car that's not necessarily the case. But when those guys are bouncing off the fence nonstop, we know they've got their hands full.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were talking, they had 55 plus laps on their tires. It was, Man, it was awesome.
Well, yeah. It was,
We were trying to go 70 laps on fuel.
Yeah, because everybody pit the last one except for the couple of them guys.
And with 10 to go, man, it was like, holy cow, this is freaking awesome.
I don't know why those ones stayed out that they did, like Chris and Danny and all that.
We were going to make it. We were right on our number.
You might have been.
We were saying we picked the same lap as they did.
You think Denny was going to make it?
Unless they were. I mean, we all they'd said is like with 10 to go, maybe right before that caution came out, they said back up to 90% throttle on the back.
I was told they were getting ready to pit.
I mean, that's possible. When we came out, they said we were one short, right on our number. Just save a little bit here under caution, we should be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think obviously all of us were banking on another yellow. I think everybody's goal at that point was cycle. We were 26th. We cycled to 5th. You're hoping to get some track position, get a caution in 10 laps, and you're still running 10th, and now you've reset. I'm sure that's what Danny was back there with us. Chris was back there with us because he had a penalty. So them guys were just trying to flip because if you just do what everybody else does, running 26th, you're never going to even sniff the front again. Danny would have never.
Well, that's not true. I showed you that.
Well, yeah, but Danny would have never been. I don't think Danny would have drove. Which I thought Danny had.
It's hard to get through. You have to catch something right to make that back up.
And it like the mid pack on them
Did you
restart.
Yes,
it happens a lot here. The mid pack on those restarts was insane.
He usually doesn't have as many out of the blue F-bombs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, that's a short night.
Jay.
We got a short night.
Hey, to your previous question, our car didn't change much.
No, you were steady.
Yeah, our tire wear was really good too. Like we were really good across the board, so we didn't have the issues, which tells you.
I really couldn't tell you because my guy's just trying to learn. And it's kind of funny, like you run through the run, you start out and you think you're something, and then at the end you think you're something else. Like, he gave good feedback for what he could do, but he's like, I'm just trying all I can. Plus he's trying to learn the air. Same as the guy on Friday. But does anybody else race as good as Kansas? I mean, it's kind of like Michigan. You can run all over the place.
Well, I mean, now it's trending to be the best race ever on Jeff Gluck's poll, which it might fall a little bit. I think it's last I heard was like Jeff said it was 97% when I voted.
Wow.
And
96%.
It's 96.2 right now.
Let me vote.
I haven't voted yet. Let's get out here and vote, Joel.
So right now it's 96.2. The highest ever was 95.7. So
but even
it's
with
going to be close.
The way this car handicaps everybody, they still race good. That just tells you how good everybody is and how close it is.
Oh, yeah. The biggest thing I think is it's so close that if you find just a little bit of something, it's going to make a big. I mean, look at the 2311 cars. I think we weren't. I mean, we won 3 of the 4 last races there, and we were just.
They had you guys favored.
Yeah, we were
to
just
probably win the thing.
We were not very good yesterday. Tyler was flashy, good at times, but I don't know that he had a car to win the race.
Tyler
at any
was
point.
the best when he pitted that 10 laps later than everybody. Then he looked because he drove back through a bunch of them.
Yeah, we tried that too, and our car wasn't good enough to do what Tyler's.
But you're scared to do that too because
Oh,
you see one guy come. Like Priest is the first guy to come. We're running around him. We were actually ahead of him, maybe a couple football fields. He comes a lap before us. I'm telling Booga, now the leaders are coming. So we pit, and then I get down, and there's Freddie sitting in his box,
thanks.
and I'm
Appreciate that.
Whoops. Because I said, and I'm telling, Riley's races every week, but I'm like, their left sides are up. Here, they're good. This is going to be quick.
Yeah.
And I see it, and I'm like, oh. And we barely slipped through, and I'm sure you guys were having to wait on us. But
not
it's
much,
really hard for all that to be going, especially for a part-time guy. I come in and I'm trying to. I don't want.
So what happens with that? And you see it like. Say ideally the fastest way to run that stage is it's 80 laps, 40 and 40.
Yeah.
But then what happens is you get an advantage if you pit sooner. So then guys went, all right, if I pit at 35, I'll have an advantage on the guys that pit at 30. Now it's if I pit at 33, I'll have an advantage on 35. Well, if I pit at 31, so eventually then it becomes we're going to pit too soon. You know what I mean? So where you can run back to 40 again, and now you're going to catch that guy that pit at 28 or 29.
And there's one guy that's going to go long, and there he sits.
Yeah.
And if the caution falls his way, everybody else is
Kraus.
stuck.
That was Kraus. I mean, Kraus ran, I don't even know, like 50 laps, probably 50-something laps of that first run.
Yeah.
They called him and passed him for the lead, and he was screwed once the yellow didn't come out.
Right.
And he spent the rest of the race a lap or two down. But if they catch a caution there, they're running last at the time, or not maybe in 20, 30th or something like that.
It changes your whole day.
Yeah, like if you catch a caution at the right time, it's we saw the 31 last week, or I think it was. He caught a caution and cycled to the top 10. But that's the strategy now. Is everybody realizes the faster I pit, I got an advantage. The earlier I pit, I got an advantage. But now it's starting to get to the side where maybe it's too early.
Oh, I like it when they do that because we're usually better in the long runs.
Yeah.
So
my grandma used to use the word umpteen. Y'all know what that means, TJ? You're a Yankee.
That's a lot.
I don't know.
The umpteenth time.
Umpteen means a lot, but we don't know how many. I don't know how many umpteen rain delays we've sat through, but I've never seen that 1.5 mile track dry that fast as yesterday.
They must have done a really good job of staying ahead of it, because when they talk credit,
they did.
Credit to Kevin
Big time.
Harvick. Kevin Harvick. Some rumor
whatever he said happened.
Some rumor went around the spotter union that Harvick said it's going to stop raining at 4 o'clock. We're going to be racing at 5 o'clock, and I was like, he's crazy.
And this was at 2:45.
Yeah,
when
this is
went,
like this.
when this
yeah,
got
like,
to our car.
This is like
and I'm
2:30.
like,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna sleep a little bit. Then.
And I was like, if it stops raining at 4 o'clock, there's no way in hell this place is ready at 5 o'clock.
You ain't driving Martinsville
No.
an hour.
And I was sitting in the Penske van with them guys, and literally 3:58, it stopped raining. I go, well, he nailed the time on the stop rain. I
Yeah.
said, but there's no
He's
way
got
we're
that.
going.
When did the snacks come to your van? 'Cause we had
It was
them,
probably about 3 o'clock.
and
or
he
so.
and then I don't know. An hour later, we're in the car, and I'm like, I can't believe y'all let Ken Snacks get out of here.
But then, so 3 o'clock, literally. So then I'm texting with Brett, and there's some guys that were at lunch.
I was at a barbecue restaurant, by the way.
You weren't the only one that wanted to track.
We were begging Andy to leave. We were begging Andy, let's go eat. Let's go. No, because Timmy kind of handed the handbook to him and Raines, and I was riding with them guys this week. But they were scared to leave. I was ready to eat, and I was still ready to eat. And then I didn't get no food coming home. I was texting Brett. I said, "What y'all eating?" He said, "We had sandwiches."
No
I said, "I ain't
sandwiches
got
on
nothing." Which I did have about 3
But they
beers.
had it all of a sudden, like right after it stopped raining, it was a text come out.
Oh,
Crew
it was
chief sent it
quick.
to me, and it was like 4:30, cruise to the cars, 4:45 intros,
Yeah.
5 o'clock anthem. Let's go. And I was like, holy shit.
I went to the roof after it started raining pretty hard the first time. I had to use the bathroom. I had to go pee because we were all sitting in cars drinking our drinks and stuff and hanging out.
Sitting in our cars drinking.
Yeah, waters. And so I went up there and I went and looked at the track, and I was like, the thing was 80% dry still. Like, whatever they did, I don't know. Like, they did a great job.
You can
keeping up with
always
it.
text Jason Jarrett.
Jason Jarrett has it all.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Andy, somebody, I said, let's go eat. He said, well, let's check with Jason. Jason said drying pretty fast.
Yeah.
So we weren't
Yeah.
moving. It's a wheel chock.
Oh, that was it for
I got like,
it was a wheel chalk.
You think you're tough in this deal. And like I said, I did it 33 and a half, 4 or 5 years here, whatever it is. And you land at 120 or whatever it was. We were all texting back and forth.
In the morning.
And you're pissed off, because it's late. And you go to get a little beef jerky because you didn't get nothing to eat. And 87-year-old Dale Inman is at the gas station and just kicking your ass, beats you in the bathroom, makes it in there, comes out.
You don't hear that?
What happened?
no, you're good.
Ignore
Sorry.
Brett's
Can't hear
phone, the
My
vibrator.
phone's vibrating.
But God,
and-
God bless that guy. He's 87 years old, and comes out and he's like, "Hey, how you doing? How far you got from here?" We were right at the airport at the gas station. I said, "I got about 50 minutes or something." He said, "I got about an hour 20. We'll see you later."
Jeez.
I mean,
How does he?
The 1 year.
87.
The year.
And fixing to be 88.
This
in a
was
couple months or
probably
something.
5 years ago, but at the time he's still 81, 82. I said something about they weren't on the plane for Daytona. We're going to Daytona, and I said, "Where the hell's Dale and Richard?" This is when I was spotting
Right.
above at the 43. I said, "Where's Dale and Richard? They ain't coming?" He said, "Oh no, the two of them are driving down today." I was like, "The two of them are driving
Yeah,
down
because
today."
we ain't going to rent a car all
they
week.
I mean,
I'm like, "Do they need to be driving all the way to Daytona?" They said, "Yeah, they don't get. That's
Hell,
what
I
they
don't
want
need
to
to be
do."
driving. I don't need to be driving right now.
I know we got plenty to talk about, but I want to add, the three of us caught a world of crap after Atlanta for not praising how great of a, quote, race it was, right? So I want to ask y'all, all three of y'all, what took more talent as a driver to win and put on a great show? Yesterday at Kansas or Atlanta? From a driving perspective.
1,000%
yesterday.
yesterday. Like I said, I can race at Atlanta.
You could.
I'd
Hey.
like to see that.
don't be a clown.
No, you wouldn't. I rode in the right seat at Atlanta one time, and that's pretty. But I mean, seriously,
The old Atlanta.
Yeah, the old Atlanta.
Yeah.
I ran around in the right seat of a car. But the hold it wide open deal, and like I said, we ran some laps with that 99 yesterday, and this is a guy that's already in the chase, and he's back there with me, air blocking me, and I'm 3 laps behind him. It don't even matter, and I got a guy trying to learn, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" I mean.
Oh, he's serious.
I see another line.
Oh yeah, and his guy's about 2 down from me, looking at his phone, texting.
my point of that is we catch crap for perspective, and everybody looks at this race from a different lens. Every race from a different lens, and from my lens yesterday, this was a phenomenal racetrack to put on a phenomenal race with a car that is subpar in a lot of places. That was dead on nuts yesterday, and that's why we weren't jumping up and down about Atlanta, because we knew the talent level that it took to win.
It's a play race.
It was a play race.
I remember y'all had a little dust up about what, after that race, this is what it is.
Suarez's girlfriend got real mad at us. She came at us on social, and this isn't about
is it
that.
his wife or a girlfriend?
Fiance.
She's in the middle. She's a fiance.
When he was at Stewart Haas like 8 years ago, when I was there, that was his fiance. Are they having it? Can they not get a venue, or what you got?
All right.
I think they're getting married.
My grandma also would say this: piss or get off the pot.
They're getting married.
Anyways.
But Casey, real quick though, like when Larson made that move to the top in 3 and 4, when he got to Buescher's right rear, like the talent level for that versus the last lap that we saw in Atlanta, night and day difference inside of that cockpit.
It's 100% of what you saw when Carl Edwards tried to drive by Jimmy Johnson on the apron, the race he did, but just at a different, at the other end of the track. How is there room for him to get up there? And I know, you're trying to say clear, and you want the guy to move 2 lanes over. You just can't just swat.
You can't just pick it up and move over.
You can't swat the wheel like 1979 with these things with Kale in there. But how did he get there? How could you put your car there, in that dirty air, and then you squeeze in there? What's Larson feeling to try to put that thing on the exit ramp above a guy?
Both of them, man. I mean, they're like,
and then he's on his right rear. And they both stay in the gas, and they did a little beating and banging down the straightaway, it looked like. But
I just don't know, and it's obviously Monday morning quarterback. I feel like of anybody on the racetrack, you can't let Kyle Larson get to the top, or even leave him a lane. That's probably his preferred lane. He's been running there all night.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And to Chris's credit, I mean he ran him clean. He could have easily squeezed him in the fence or something.
I would rather see what happened than him get blocked.
I think Chris probably is going to win the race if Larson doesn't hang a left and just door the out of him coming down the first straightaway.
I think you're right too, because
he hit him hard.
He hit him real hard
twice.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple contacts.
There was.
He turned off the wall. He chased him down, touched him, and touched him again at the start finish. But I mean, I would rather see it race like that than the guy block.
Oh,
I know the blocking deal is going to happen. It is a part of what this deal is now, and is going to be. But the talent that these guys have to do what they're doing with the way this car drives, from what I hear, I have no idea. I see, that you can catch somebody and you get, they show those old videos where you got Jeff Burton down on just mowing somebody over off the corner. You can't do that now. I don't care who you are. No. You better be offset somewhere. You better have your headlight out or something out somewhere, getting some air on something, because you can't just run right.
We talked about one last night. We had been mired mid pack pretty much all race, and we cycled to 5th, I think, on the when everybody stayed out there late, and we were talking to Bubba about listen, even up here, if you want to enter turn 1 wide open, if you do, you cannot be directly in the tracks. 7 teams in front of us. We said you can't be in his tracks. You have to be offset one way or the other, or you can't run wide open. Those are your 2 options.
Or you're going to think you got a tire down, or the splitters on the ground.
Yeah, I think if Chris knows that Larson's going to hit him twice, he probably maybe slides up another couple feet in the middle of the corner.
This is what we talked about with
nice guy
Ryan Sieg at Texas, was it?
Too nice.
Nice guys finished second.
So
what a race, though. Still,
I couldn't understand why he changed lanes at the very end. It's crazy. Nobody can run up off the bottom. Love Sieg, spotted for him for years. Love to see him win. But when he moved up, or he'd been up,
got lost.
And then when he moved down, I'm like, what are you doing? And then the guy's beside you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Casey. I heard you over there.
Oh, you're good. No, let's go back to that finish, because I feel like there's a few people who still think Buescher won. And there's been some comments about the finish line being painted crooked, what the final result of that race was based off the picture. What did you guys think about that, and how should we move forward now, knowing what these finishes look like?
I tweeted the finish line's fake.
Yeah, I tweeted the first thing about when they got the crooked. Maybe we get a better paint crew, and that's just you're running your mouth on the way to the airplane. But give us something. If that view, give us the view from wherever that camera's at.
You have to have a line.
And I mean, I appreciated the guys that stayed there and showed us
Gluck,
what it was and the timestamp, and you got to have all that. But the fans, us standing above it, we don't see all that. We're going by that little line, that people have painted,
Or the pylon.
You're going by that, the pylon.
Maybe that's why they're tearing them some out of
and
there.
the transponders at the back of the car.
Tearing the pylons down because they're wrong.
We don't want to. We don't have any confusion.
I didn't realize. And see, with somebody like me with no technology, that's my lap counter.
So when we watched Atlanta, it took forever to know who won the race. And I mean, it is what it is. And what I don't understand about it is it's 2024, and on any other, sports cast, when we're watching NFL, do they put a fake 1st and 10 or 2nd and 8 or whatever line out there so you know where the first down marker is? Yes. So how the are we in 2024?
But it's pretty accurate.
It's accurate. How are we in 2024 and we don't have the capabilities of showing a live laser, A, across the track for the people that are in attendance, and B, for the TV audience? Because TJ just said as we entered this particular part of the discussion, and I think Joel was talking, he said, it's a fake finish line. Is that what you said?
It's for
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
for
I mean,
looks.
it's not the line isn't where they
facade.
hit.
It's
What
not
is that?
transparent
Is that a
to the
facade.
audience that is watching and to the audience that's in attendance or to the spotters that are calling the race or anything else. So now, as a competitor, we don't even really know where we're racing to. And obviously, this is the closest finish in NASCAR history.
It's like the restart zone.
It is.
Do you go here or do you go there? Where do you go?
There's so many factors
Both.
here, but my struggle is in this day and age, the technology is present, and if it's not present, you got a bigger problem. To be transparent and show, I mean, the second the Kentucky Derby finished, by the way, it was a phenomenal Kentucky Derby, 3-wide finish. We knew once they showed the photo finish whose nose was ahead of whose. And then when you look at the NASCAR piece, like the camera angle could be funky.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Larson tweeted. I think he tweeted like a picture of that
he
finish
did.
in his
A to A.
something.
How is the finish line crooked? Here's how I'm driving to the airport and I'm trying to stop and grab a beer. Turns out they don't serve beer after 8 o'clock. And gas stations out
if
there.
it's a 1% chance of rain on race day,
Go ahead and fuel up.
I get it before the race. I do not chance it because you might land, especially when you get a rain. Rain delays.
So after a 30-minute, drive to the airport and can't find a beer, I get on the plane. The first thing I see is, Gluck tweeting about a crooked finish line and then a photo where there are 2 lasers out there. And obviously you can see at that point that Larson looked like 2 inches to me ahead. But our fan base and we deserve to see that, Freddie.
So,
way faster than we did see it.
well, what I will give them credit for,
They
this
announced it
week,
quick, yeah.
they announced it immediately to the
Yeah.
5-1.
I hadn't even turned my radio
Yeah, I was
off.
in the
They-
I had got to the elevator.
They said 5's
Yeah.
the winner. And I'm looking at the board and I go, damn, the 17. And if you go back and listen to the 5's audio, they're like, damn, we lost. They're like, damn, we ain't, oh, well.
and you got the 17 guys jumping up and down on pit road.
I mean, Kim Kuhn, on the radio broadcast, Kim Kuhn has got a microphone in Scott Graves' face when Scott Graves finds out that he didn't win the race. The MRN's calling it, or is it MRN? Yeah, MRN. They're calling it for the 17's won. Everybody down here is elated. We're getting ready to get word with Scott Graves, and all of a sudden Graves
All right,
is
we're
like,
looking for another
you hear
pit stall
Graves
here.
in the back row go, they just said the 5-1. And she's like, "Oh, okay, can't get back up to the booth or whatever." But
not good.
but immediately
his interview was really nice too.
I didn't see it, but
He was.
You
He
know,
was
some
very
some of
humble.
those would be tougher from different people, but he was
Yeah,
very
Scott's
gracious.
really- yeah,
Scott's a
he's-
great guy.
he is, yep.
He's been around. I think he got his first win with Buescher, maybe in Xfinity,
Yeah.
and then
I
went somewhere and came
I
back.
think the biggest
and-
problem is all these tracks now. Some of them sell sponsorship on the start finish line. So you have this. Big,
you
this-
got the fans out there signing.
Yeah, I mean,
so if you're a fan of your guy runs the top and Brett's guy runs the bottom, you need to bring a white Sharpie.
That's what I was gonna say, yeah,
next
go out there and
week
make the line a
and
little
start
longer.
painting it.
Whiteout. Remember when Whiteout was
It's
the name?
just-
I got whiteout still.
So
but I mean,
the
it's
line
dried up.
the line is wide. Obviously, the line is much wider than that laser line. So I think there's a way. There's got to be a way now. It doesn't have to be a damn laser shooter. You should be able to. All right, here's where our laser is. Mark it. And there should be a definitive line, whether you put it in the middle of that wide checkerboard or whatever you want to do, a definitive line that just shows this is where the laser lines up with the wall. And there's no reason in this day and age we can't do that.
It's great that we're having these finishes, and they're this tight. Whether it's Atlanta, whether it's Martinsville,
This is a
or
good
wherever.
problem to have.
But we need outstanding, but you need a way for people. It's a visual thing,
And
it's like if you hit the ball and it goes over the foul thing, and you know it's a home run, and then
Yeah.
what's his name? The umpire. What's his the guy?
Angel Hernandez.
Angel says points the other way. I mean, everybody saw it hit the thing.
Yeah.
It's the netting, but I don't know. They're doing the best they can probably, and they show up 4 or 5 days before us. They don't know who painted the lines.
No.
You know that we get there with some races, and the pit boxes are different.
Well, that's the biggest thing. I think when you have to go out and look at it, because the pictures you're getting, and it's such a non-issue, but obviously it'll get clicks and it brings up an issue. Like you look and the line on the track is wider than the line on the apron, and it's like you can't have like that happening.
I think that one just having that offset to Larson's favor
of
got
course.
everybody all stirred up. Even
Because I
me.
promise you, no matter which line, if it's that line or the line that's a little bit shorter, Larson beats him to either one.
Yeah.
It just looks bad.
Exactly. Once they showed their laser picture, it was way obvious. But and again, that thing they showed it tied to
the
a
thing that
post in the infield.
The thing that I don't understand is
if you put it on the other side of the post, did the other car win?
Yeah, well, that's what I don't understand about the timing.
I don't know.
You know, and I'm not smart enough to know why the timing loops are different than the laser. But if you look at the Larson picture in the laser, it looks just like any other 3 or 4 thousandth of a difference finish that we've ever had. When the timing and scoring, mine read 0-0-0.
Same.
You know, well, why is this clearly a Larson win, but timing and scoring shows a tie? Now I know there's 47,000 more decimals you can get to that's going to determine that. But, you know, like I don't understand how that lines up. I don't understand how the 17.
Jeff Gluck did tweet that the scoring loop for the start-finish line is a few feet back, which is why they use that high-end camera, which is why when you mentioned we knew for the Kentucky Derby who won right away, and we did learn really quick that Larson won. But the reason is, or the issue is that it is a few feet back, so the transponder for Buscher didn't read as accurately, but they do use the same technology as the Kentucky Derby. Brett, to answer your question.
TJ, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Did Chris Buscher, from the time he exited turn 4 till he finished second, get outsmarted by Larson with those moves and the beating and banging?
I don't know if he got outsmarted. Chris's car was super fast. I don't think he anticipated Larson making up that much ground. But you know, I think Larson got there quicker than what he expected, but
he's probably expecting him not to get off of 4 as good as he did, running above him, because you're thinking you're gonna get tight there.
Yeah.
I mean,
as soon as the 5 got a nose out there, Chris started opening up the wheel, and that hurt his exit already right there. So at that point, you're beating and banging. Your exit's already. You better be ready for some contact or something, because as soon as you call outside, that guy's going to open the wheel up. You're not going to let him just drive right by you out there. So
no. And I mean, the air's getting different. Everything's getting. And I mean, Herm is as good as anybody. I'm sure he knew every inch of what was going on, and I don't think he could have done anything any different, other than, like you say, he could have just used him up a little. Yeah. If he knew now, or then what he knows now, he would have probably drove it a little.
Looking at 1 and 2, I mean, Chris got through 1 and 2 really good. And I think he tried to pull the same type of move. He was going to go in there 3/4 lane up and then kind of turn down and not really give him a chance to use that big run before the start. I don't think he
had to be
got there.
confident with his stuff, because I had watched him run right in that guy's tracks, which is
him and
hard
Denny
to
were
do.
dicing it out for a
while.
while.
For back and forth, and just when you can follow somebody and run like he was doing, your stuff's good.
Well, the telling sign for me was when their stuff was good was usually after that restart where we all stayed out, Chris is leading. And then they start battling. Denny gets the lead, and 9 times out of 10, I feel like once that guy gets the lead, he drives away.
Yeah,
Chris never lost him. Then Chris passed him back, and they were and then they were dicing. I was like, man, those are 2 really good race cars. Right there.
I just wonder if the 2 tires took a little bit of, because to me 3 is a little trickier than 1. 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is almost wide open, and I wonder if the 2 tires, because that was the first time they really would have went in there with a lot of speed, right? Maybe
I got good news, bad news. Good news is I just canceled my dentist appointment after this.
Awesome.
Which I probably should have done yesterday when you said you want to drink Busch Light in here.
That's
why I'm canceling my dentist.
I brought you a toothbrush.
The bad news is Joel is wearing a North Wilkesboro T-shirt. I know he and Marcus Smith are buddies. I know
Marcus
Freddie
gave me this shirt.
I know Freddie and Marcus Smith are buddies. I think
Big fan of our show.
I think Kentucky's got to go back on the schedule, man. It's a mile and a half.
Listen,
it's some of our best racing we've seen. I don't know how you sit in a NASCAR office this morning and think it's a good idea to have a NASCAR championship weekend other than
Brett, we're
somewhere
not
that's
at
a
the
mile
What an
and a
Idiot
half.
part of the show yet.
Listen,
We're not.
Forget Kentucky.
What about Chicago?
Why aren't you bringing Chicago back? It's
Rockingham.
the identical track to Kansas.
Dover proved to me. I don't know about. Well, I'm pretty stupid, but did you see the fans at Dover?
Yeah, one day.
I mean, I watched some of it on TV. One race.
One race.
You need one race. I mean, if you have 2 cookouts, I'm probably going to come to both of them, Brady, just because it's you. But normally, if Casey's got 2 cookouts this summer, one of them I'm going to say, it looks like bad weather or something. If you got one, they're going to come.
Yeah.
Give them one race.
Tommy,
unless it's phenomenal and it's getting sold out every race, give them one.
Tommy,
maybe Daytona and the Talladega.
Kansas is
Kansas
in that category.
Hey, Martinsville could be one as long as you're putting people in the stands.
Tommy Baldwin had a great quote one day. He was getting married to Beth, his wife now, and his dad had an RSVP jet, and this was Tommy's second, maybe third marriage. I don't even know. And so he called his dad, and he's like, "Dad, we haven't heard from you. You coming to the wedding?" He goes, "Nah, I'll just go to the next one." Like if somebody knows there's more to go, like, I'll just come to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, it's repeat business, like funeral deal. You ain't going out of business on that.
Yeah.
Weddings.
Oh, well, prior to the race, Toby Christie posted about a study group that Noah and Chase and Josh Berry with SHR had joined, just talking about studying data and techniques to help improve their speed. Ryan Preece then tweeted that he was not invited to that study group. What do you all think about that one?
Hold on a second. First of all, you're absolutely right. But Freddie, is this weird as to you?
This is so. This is. There's 2 steps of weird because this is obviously very strange. This whole this whole topic is very strange. But then if you're a priest and this tweet is kind of out there making you look bad, you respond to it and get them another extra 150. When I looked yesterday, it was another 115,000 impressions. So now you've drawn more attention, which I guess you're trying to defend yourself by saying you weren't invited to it, but. It's just, I don't know. It's not a good look in my opinion, and it's probably leave it alone.
TJ's rolling his eyes.
I just would have left it alone. I mean, what do they have access to that you don't have access to already? And it
looks like Noah's got access to an RFK car.
I don't know what Noah has access to.
Oh,
but,
come on.
Noah's been good all year, but I think Josh is quietly having a decent year for his first full-time Cup year. He's had shined at times. Noah's running well. But I don't know, man. I don't feel like this meeting is the make it or break it for the weekend.
But why does Noah send this out at all? Why does he say this?
Maybe he took something from it. I don't know.
What's his agenda though? He has to have an agenda with this.
I think they're digging in over there.
Well,
like you say, when the music's playing and there's seats, or maybe there's not seats. But everybody's trying to get one.
We've talked about it on here, I don't know, a month ago, and said there's a possibility of Gene's going to sell charters, and I still hear those. I hear it's so crazy in our garage right now because you hear Gene selling 2, Gene selling 1, Gene selling the whole team. Gene's doing the, and it's like, okay, but now you see the kind of infighting, and I saw an interview where Chase Briscoe said he called his team and said, if guys, I know everybody's worried about, and this is what you hear. You hear it out of everybody over there. Every crew guy, every spotters are mentioning it. If there's 4 teams and they're going to 2 or 3 or 1 or none, whatever it is, who's going to be left? And Chase made a comment in an interview that he called his guys and said, "Listen, I know everybody's hearing this stuff. If we just go out and perform like we're supposed to perform, we'll be fine."
Right.
Noah is obviously, and another thing Chase said that I agreed with. Everybody said
Noah's got nothing to lose.
No, and he's playing with house money at this point because he's coming back from the dead, basically.
Exactly.
Chase said, somebody said, is now without Harvick being there, does that make you the leader? And Chase said, no, the leader is who's ever running the best. It doesn't matter if I've got more years right now that's Noah. And it's clear as day Noah. That's going to be it. But to your point, I think that, and I don't know that this is why maybe this gets out there because some guys might be trying to make other guys look bad because they don't want, but they're making them look bad on the racetrack already. And it's very clear. Ryan Preece is a very good friend of mine, and I don't know if what they've got going on, but he needs to step it up if he wants to have any shot at staying over there, even if there's 4 teams next year. It's that you look up last night. I looked up last night, and Ryan was last. Like the first run, he was the last car. We had the first one we were going to get to.
We were racing him for. Like they short pitted us 1 lap, and we were 2 football fields ahead of him. After the pit cycle, we're 3 behind him, and that was a good call on his crew chief's part because we never got. He stayed on the lead lap the whole day. We never got it back, and then you end up getting lapped because you're back there.
Yeah,
he gets lapped again. He takes a wave around. We raced. He air blocked, which is what you're supposed to do. I hate it, but that's what the game is. And they were all over each other, probably pretty close to the same cars.
Yeah.
As far as speed. But he's got to go. He's got to prove something. If his crew chief's not involved in what's going on, maybe they're the only one that's going to be left standing. Or maybe they don't care.
Yeah.
But I heard some stuff this weekend that you don't never hear until like 4 races to go. I mean, it's getting – for this point of the season – for all this to be going on, and I'm sure it's the whole anxiety of the sport, with not knowing.
We don't even know if they got charters.
That's what I mean. And I'm going to the airport yesterday, and I rode with the front row guys because the Stuart Haas guys are at a different airport or whatever, or excuse me, the Rick Ware guys are at a different airport, and so, but they tell me that hey, there's another charter out there, and I'm like, what? One of them said there's one still in a lawsuit from the BK deal.
Really?
And I thought
that's not being used.
I'm looking up there and I'm like, have y'all got beers in the hold? No, there's no way.
No,
but all this there was us. At one time there was one in a lawsuit or something. But there's 36 charters.
Well, speaking
they're all
of
spoken for.
Charters and silly season, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. announced that he received a contract extension with JTG. Great news for Ricky. What do you guys think about that one?
Obviously, really good news for Ricky.
Yeah.
And they've found a home there. I mean, they won the 500 last year, made the playoffs. They are consistently, mid-teens.
They go through little swings, but that's a great
and it's a great
fit.
team of guys. Mike Kelly, Travis Young, those guys over there are all great guys, all good racing people. The interesting side of this is the ownership side, which you don't hear a lot about it, but it seems to me
I heard a lot about it.
I mean,
I told you last year about it.
Yeah. I know. Well, you weren't the first one, I promise you. But it's Tad Geschecter seems like he's out. I mean, right? I mean, that's
what's the J stand for? Is it Jody?
Yeah.
What's the T stand for?
Tad?
Yeah.
What's the G stand for?
I don't know.
Gordon.
Yeah.
When's it going to become G Racing?
Well, that's where we're heading. Well, maybe GD. Can you say that?
Yeah, GD, Gordon Doherty Racing.
And we've heard rumors of, Tad is solely working out of the biggest thing I think that's going to come out of this is what happens with these sponsors. You know what I mean? Because that was Tad's side of the business. I think the whole time was that Kroger deal. He's unbelievable at marketing, and you heard him.
The B2B of that Kroger deal is kind of like the Menards or some of the other stuff.
And you heard rumors, and I mean I don't think they're rumors anymore that he was working with other teams to find them sponsors. And
there's no rumor. He had an office at Joe Gibbs Racing and actively pursuing sponsors to solidify sponsorship for Kyle Busch in the 18 car.
Yeah,
I mean that wasn't a rumor.
Yeah,
that was a fact.
Wow.
And that didn't work.
I got to pay attention.
But now it seems to me like he's out, right? I mean, can we say that yet? I mean, I know he was the only one that didn't comment on the Ricky extension. Like it just seems to me, I don't know where they're at paperwork wise, but it seems to me like Tad's out of the 47.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's good for Ricky.
So JTG is Jody Tad. Is that how you
Gordon,
said it?
Gordon. Yeah. Well, here's what's confusing for us.
I thought it was the Geschecter part.
I don't know. Brett's making up initials.
Well, the other guy's name's Gordon.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My tax guy's name's
Well,
Gordon.
you said you know. What do you know?
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I knew last year what was going on with this. I told y'all in September what was
why
going
don't
on
you tell
with
us
this in
now?
our group chat.
It ain't like you ain't got my number. I mean, you can text me some stuff.
Hey, this is great news for Ricky Stenhouse.
Oh, 100%.
Again, I mean, we have guys that have hung their career on winning the Daytona 500 for decades, and it buys you so many years because it makes you marketable for so many years. And I think Ricky has a ton of talent. I think Ricky's a great dude. I haven't seen or talked to him in a while, but obviously his problem and why he got let go from Roush is he wrecks too much. He puts himself in stupid situations and it gets him wrecked. And so this is great news for Ricky Stenhouse to be able to go out and know he's got a job. They said multi-years. That probably means 2 with a third-year option. It's a big deal in today's world to get that kind of contract.
And he has a ton of support personally too, between NOS Energy Drink and others. Like he's set, I would say, and he's showed that he should be there too. Mike Joy made a comment during the broadcast yesterday about Bowman Gray Stadium potentially being a contender for a race in the future. Any thoughts? What are you guys hearing?
I
Joel,
think we should
if you don't want to share, you can tell Brett because he is not afraid to share.
We're all looking at Joel.
anything.
Joel's not afraid either. It's a hell of a lot closer than L.A., I can tell you that. And, I mean, I think it's the same size.
Yeah.
And it's already paved.
The issue there is it doesn't hold as many people, but
and the weather.
Well, it holds enough.
and the
It holds as many people
Yeah,
as
the
show up
weather.
in LA.
Exactly.
No, that's not true.
Well,
It's close.
the first
it's
year
not.
there
That's
was a
half,
lot,
probably.
but
Man, it's hard to imagine we raced there. Let's have the championship race there.
yeah.
This is but I'm joking,
Revolving.
obviously. But it's hard to imagine having a race there when it only holds 17,000 people. But I don't know how, and they can't really add to it. You know, a lot of places we go don't hold a lot of people, but they can add grandstands. You can't add grandstands at Bowman Gray. They are what they are.
it'd be tough.
So it's hard to see us having a cup race there with that small of a crowd. But maybe that's just a high market ticket. Then it's a like we saw last year. I mean, you go to North Wilkesboro the first year and it sells out immediately.
You had to pay $500 to have the
just
right
to
to
get
buy
on a
a
list.
ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now this year they're
Not
slimming
even
down.
knowing where you're sitting. You could
Yeah,
be row
just-
one, getting into one, eating.
So
Lug nuts.
it'll be hard to see a cup race there, but I mean I'm all for it. Let's have fun. Let's go.
Joel,
back
I
up
need
there.
some ice.
I got ice, bro.
All right, stay tuned. After the break, we have plenty more to catch up on Spot On, Spot Off.
Wouldn't it be great if we all had a voice in our head telling us when a pothole was coming up or helping you parallel park without curbing a tire? You know, like having one of us in your ear each time you drive. Your very own spotter. While you may get tired of hearing us talk, we know you won't get tired of eBay Motors.
eBay Motors helps everyone from a young driver just starting out to the most advanced car enthusiasts to even us, race team spotters. You can count on them to keep your car in peak condition and help fix all those dents and dings that may come along the way.
I remember when I just got my first car, I was so careful driving it around and making sure it stayed in pristine condition. Unfortunately, the inevitable happened and we needed to make a repair. Back in the day, I wish there was a resource like eBay Motors to help me find the part and product I needed to get the perfect fit and perfect repair. It may come as a surprise, but I wasn't always this car savvy, so a site as easy to navigate as eBay Motors would have been a lifesaver.
eBay Motors is here for you no matter what you're looking to do. Whether it's a unique customization or a regular maintenance need, eBay Motors has you covered. Go check it out yourself and see why they are the preferred marketplace.
Another cool thing that's available to everyone are the helpful DIY guides and blogs. Everyone can find something to check out and learn more about their four-wheeled best friends. eBay Motors is a community full of people that all have the same goal, keeping their ride or die running like new.
With over 122 million parts, you can make sure your number one ride or die stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof racks, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back.
Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash.
Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. First topic. Denny Hamlin calling his shot to win the championship this year. Freddie, spot on, spot off.
I don't know. I think this is a non-issue. It wasn't. Clint asked him, I think, during the race, "Are you going to win? You called your shot last week and you call your shot again this? Are you going to call your shot for the championship?" And what's he supposed to say? No. It's. I don't know. This is on the Dover deal. He went on the podcast unsolicited and said, "I'm winning next week at Dover." I'm sorry, the pre-Dover podcast. He said, "I'm going out there and I'm winning next week." That's calling your shot. When somebody asks you, "Are you going to win the championship?" and you say, "Yeah," that's not calling your shot because what are you supposed to say? No, I'm not winning this year. F- it. I'm only off to the best start of my career. I'm not going to win this year. Spot off. I don't know.
Joel.
I mean, this guy's been winning a championship every year. It's just the luck. I remember one he lost at Homestead. He got 3 wide with us and Menard and spun. You know, kind of like what we were talking about before. There's 2 cars there, and you get in a bad place.
On the backstretch,
I don't think it matters. Yeah, on the backstretch coming off of 2. If the championship deal, since we went to being at one racetrack, doesn't mean as much to me. And I don't know that you need to be running the points all year. Maybe it needs to be a 3-race deal. But what we're doing, I mean, you can be the best guy, the best day. You get a flat tire, it's over.
Brett,
it's like Carl Edwards. You know, he could have won 2, should have won 1 at least, and then you get a caution for a car down on the flat that doesn't mean anything. And I think that's why that guy took his $75 million and went home.
Brett, do you think? I mean, to Joel's point, obviously it matters a little bit, but do you think Denny Hamlin cares if he ever wins a championship at this point with this format?
Yes,
they all care.
Yes, I think he cares. I think he cares a lot because I think he knows that he's championship caliber, and I mean, I sit here and I'm like, man, I pick Denny every year to win a championship for a lot of reasons. So this year I'm gonna say I hope he doesn't win it.
I'm never picking him again.
No, he's
not in my final
He's
four.
got no chance. He's got no chance.
I mean, you know,
I would love to see him win one.
Our buddy Trey Ryan, we were texting with him, and I mean, this is the most wins he's had, tied for the most wins he's had at this point in the year with 12 races, 3 wins. The 4th most laps he's led this far into a season. Like, if it seems like every year is a championship year, but when you get to Phoenix, it comes down to that pit stop with Kyle Larson, or it comes down to
the pit stall, whatever.
It comes down to, I mean, so many things.
Even before them in Martinsville.
Yeah, not even that. Last year, he's cruising to the Final Four and blows a tire or breaks steering or something at Kansas and wrecks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
the steering goes out on it running very well.
So when you hear us, and I'm trying to put this in perspective for our listeners, when you hear us not get crazy excited about how great of a race Atlanta was, and this weekend we're super excited about how great of a race it is, it's the same thing. You know, Joel and I, and even TJ and Freddie, when, you know, Dale Jarrett won his championship, or Terry Labonte won his championship, or even when Jimmy Johnson won his first 6 championships, it was like he's the deserving champion. And with this new format, I'm not saying they're not deserving. It's just there's a lot more of right place, right time that comes in to factor into who wins it. And I mean, the year TJ won his championship, Logano and his team 100% deserved it. But in that format, it just doesn't have, and I hate to say this, as much credibility for longtime racers like us. Yeah. It gives you the Game 7 moment, 100%. TV gets what they want. Brian France gets what he wanted when he started this whole thing, or agreed to let TV do this. Because NBC was the one that said, hey, we need our Daytona 500 moment. We don't have it. How do we get it? We do this style of a playoff. Back then they called it a chase. And we do this style of a playoff, and we have a Game 7 moment guaranteed. You do. That's a Game 7 moment. But it's a lot different for those of us who have been around a long time, TJ.
Yeah, I'm spot off for it right now. It's too early. There could be. We've seen people. I said it a few weeks ago. This is not the part of the season where you want to be hot. It's great. It's great for Martin Truex. Where was Martin? Martin dominated the regular season, and then we barely saw him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think I do think Denny will be a contender. Denny's smart. I mean, he knows how to put a season together.
I think that day and age changed. That day and age has changed a little bit because Denny, I think, was talking about this last week or a couple weeks ago on his podcast. Like, you used to see trends throughout the year. You know, we'd get to start the year, and then around the Coke 600, everybody would have a new car. And then a little bit later, you know, closer to the playoffs, everybody would have a new car. I mean, I'm talking a brand new chassis.
And some of these,
like, you know, I mean, a brand new car, brand new.
Aren't doing anything but just playing.
Yeah, brand new motor program.
How many times would you hear in 2010, this car just is the best in the wind tunnel we've ever had? Or Doug Yates would call, you know, Todd Parrott or whoever and say, this is the most horsepower by 3 that we've ever brought to the racetrack.
We always were working on the car, like we do. I can't tell you how many. How many times I went to the wind tunnel.
This car does this in sim. It's not. This is the best car we've ever had.
Well, the sim's
here.
the new wind tunnel, you know what I mean?
It is, but it's a different day and age, which we obviously adapt to. But I mean, on Tuesday when you got a call that we got 3 more horsepower than we've ever had, you were like, hell yeah,
we got him this week.
We got
him. There's no way.
I still think you can get hot, and I still think. I mean, Truex.
Blaney showed it last year.
Yeah, Blaney. The season ends. perfectly for Ryan Blaney.
The best season I ever had with Biffle was 2006, I think. We won 6 of 36. Should have won a championship, leading by a straightaway at Texas. Got a loose wheel. Finished 20th instead of winning the race. Greg Biffle's not a Cup champion, but at the same time of the year of that season, he was the champion.
Yeah.
If you put it all together. But it comes down to, there's other stuff that comes in. And I think we've lost a little bit of that back when, you saw Dale Jr.'s podcast last week when he was with Chocolate or whoever.
And Kirk.
And Kirk. And, they're like, we won 8 races that year. We should have won them all. Every time Dale lost, it was because of us. We messed something up or it rained or it done something. But, there's some seasons where you are the champion even though you don't win it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The one race deal, I think, is going to have to change at some point. It may be a couple, 3 years out, or the one race at Phoenix. Say you're just not good at Phoenix.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think that's the biggest proponent of why it needs to go to some kind of little short series, 2 or 3 races, whatever. Because you're not going to, even if it's 3 races, the reason why we went to the Chase to make it 10 races was to kind of, originally it was narrow it down so then you don't get the big gap where somebody's not clinching the second to last race. If you make it a 3-race deal, nobody's, I don't think, going to run away with it in 3 weeks. If you give it to 4 guys, you're still going to come down to at least 2 guys. But if they do, they earned it. Yeah, but I think you're always going to come down to 2 guys racing, and then you're going to see different strategies of Phoenix. Maybe some guy's got to chase stage points, and another guy doesn't.
And maybe it needs to be. I don't know if there's another way. Analytically, is that a word?
Yes.
That is definitely a word.
Not in Mayberry, but you brought it down here.
Well, I've just been listening to you guys, so I got a little smarter.
I highly doubt it came from this show.
But if it's wins, it's your season. And I know you get points and you get stage points, but you can get stage points by staying out doing some stuff like that.
To that point, obviously the playoffs change things a little bit, but you mentioned drivers who are consistent, who have strong seasons, such as Martin Truex last year, Denny Hamlin so far this year. This might be a tough question, but who would you see being champions for the past 3 years at least? Like looking at their seasons overall.
Well, I think the better question is who would you rather be? Like, would you rather be the guy that goes out and wins 6 races, dominates the year, and then blows a motor at Kansas and loses the championship because of that? You're the guy that year, or do you want to be the guy that got hot the last 3 races and won Phoenix?
What makes it different for me is when you look at, and it's no disrespect, but Daniel Hemrick wins a Xfinity championship.
Only races ever won.
By dooring a guy in the corner, which, hey, good for you, great. But what else of his year was a championship year that year?
That was
in
only
Xfinity.
win, right?
This is the only one ever in Xfinity.
Yeah.
But doesn't it show consistency in points?
You made it to the Final Four for a reason, and there's 4 or 5 different ways you can make it to the Final Four.
I can't buy into the whole, and I see people do this all the time. Driver X would have won the championship if it were the old playoff format. Let me tell you, Darf, something, and I gave Joel a Darf hat today.
Thank you.
You can't compare today's results to yesteryear's standards because the crew chiefs, the drivers, the spotters, and everybody that's involved with these race teams, we're calling the races based on today. And we're calling it based on what pays points. It used to be the end of the race was the only place to earn points other than leading a lap, leading the most laps. Well, when they took all that away, now there's no reason to run long to lead a lap to get a point. Every strategy that's playing out today is based on today's points format. So fans, do yourself a favor. Stop living in the past. Live in now, because that's where the drivers, the spotters, the crew chiefs, the tire changers, the gas men, even the ladies back and doing travel, that's where they're living. We're living in right now.
That might be the smartest thing you've ever said.
That's big.
I think you actually have said that before, TJ. So
that was a good rant.
Yeah.
And it kind of stunk back in the day when they changed everything and they would show for 2 or 3 years. If in the old point system, and I mean we can all look back. Biffle would have had a couple.
I think the first couple years,
Dale Jr. would have had some.
It would drive Jim Utter. It would drive Jim Utter. Back then, he wrote for the Charlotte Observer. They would put up the points as they run now, and Jim Utter would lose his mind. He was like, "The race ain't over. What does it matter? It's as they run now." And he wasn't wrong.
No.
But it was a storyline. It was TV trying
Yeah.
to give you something to talk about.
And I think
It's a
that
click deal.
back in those days, like when they first went to the chase, it was the same point structure. Just they narrowed the field, and it was relevant then. Like you could say, well, if it was season long, so and so would have won. But once they introduced stage points, we all started racing and calling the races differently, and then that's when it kind of became irrelevant.
Interesting. Spot on, spot off. Kansas is producing the best racing of any track on the Cup circuit. TJ.
I think it's up there. We've had some great races this year. Regardless, Atlanta put on a great race still. That takes less talent to run it, but it still put on a great race. We all left Atlanta like, wow. Bristol put on a great race this year. I mean, it had a little bit of everything. It had the old school driver saving some tire. And this week, I hope we don't change the tire, because this week you could punish them and pay for it. And that needs to be part of it. You shouldn't be able to run qualifying laps every single lap of the race and not have some sort of punishment for it. You should have to work on your car and get it to last and do things. I mean, there's good short. This is what makes it good, is you have short run cars and you have long run cars, and both of them got a chance to shine in that race at certain points. But I think Kansas puts on a great race. I think Kansas showcases how good these drivers really are in these cars and how tight the windows are they are driving in. I mean, we're talking, if you're 1 foot to the right too far, you're losing the nose. And these guys are very accurate, and they're playing chess every single corner with each other. One guy moves down a little bit more because he saw you move down. Then you got to react to that. And these guys, I don't think they get enough credit for how good they really are in managing these situations and making split-second decisions when a guy arcs off into the corner.
Joel.
Being part-time, you come back into a game like yesterday, and you're hearing the stuff, and my guy's like, we've got too much brake pressure getting in the corner. And I'm like, this guy's driving his ass off, and we're talking about he's adding too much brake. But that's, to TJ's point, that's how advanced everything has gotten. They can see, what the leader's doing, how much brake pressure he's got, how much wheel he's got, to the centimeter of where he's running. And I don't know, Kansas is, to me right now, as good a racetrack as you'll see, but it's because you can run all over it. It's like Michigan used to be. When you could run from the bottom to the top, it ain't got sticky on it nowhere. I mean, sorry.
You're good. You're allowed to curse on here.
Yeah. Freddie's shown that.
I just didn't know about the flip or the flut or whatever.
Oh, there's
that was.
kids in the room.
But I mean, it's a good race. There, but you got to be able to run from top to the bottom. Obviously, you can't do that at Bristol, or some of these places. But I think it's a good racetrack. I don't know that it's ready to lose a race. I think it's probably going to keep one.
It's got to keep at least two.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to keep both of them.
And there's I'm the
sure.
one. I'm the one race guy though. I think we need to be going everywhere once, which I don't go to many of them. But
You go.
I just think it brings a fan out, and it was a decent crowd yesterday for it to be a 3-hour delay. You know, you got to thank the fans for hanging in there. It's a good town. It's in the middle of the world.
It's growing.
It's in the middle of the world.
Or
in the middle
yeah,
of the
the middle of my world. Middle of
I don't
my
even know
world.
where the middle of the world is. Like, that's a good point. I would love to know where the middle of the world is.
Well,
it's
I
round, there's no
base it
middle, I
off.
don't think
I
so.
base it off. It's 5
Are you
hours.
a flat worlder?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to fall off.
Casey, here's the reality. There's two things that make a good race for me. Number one, battles for the lead. And we definitely had that yesterday. Number two is the ability to pass. We definitely had that yesterday. It's a really simple evaluation from where I sit. We checked both boxes. It was a great race. Obviously, a close finish, which makes it really cool. Stage 3, we didn't have any calls. Stage 1 and 2 went by. I bet TJ didn't even have time to go pee. It went by so fast.
Well, he
I went.
probably snuck a couple in there.
Yeah, every time I get there, Kevin Hamlin,
he pees as much as you do.
he's fast,
He
man.
runs.
He gets there like
He
quick.
takes short little steps.
It's all
steps
about
and
what you're
runs.
working with.
Kevin,
He's built for speed.
Gets out of there
Kevin,
faster.
yeah, man.
You know what? And
I meant off the spotter stand.
Not
That's
to
what
get
I
off
meant.
topic, but that's what I do
Maybe it
best on
wasn't
the
as cold
show.
where he was.
But why do we have one urinal and one toilet in
Hey.
the bathroom with a spotter? Give us the splash wall like at North Wilkesboro where we can all pee.
And everybody's
You know,
putting
like
one
splash
time-
on
peeing in a
everybody's
trough.
feet.
One time I
And then
beat
we
him.
can go.
One time I beat him there, and he's behind me yelling. I said, "Kevin, let
He
me
was
drive
behind
this.
you in the
let
bathroom?
me drive this thing."
Yeah. I knew I was a lap down yesterday because after one of the cautions at the end, I started down to go to the bathroom, and he was coming back up. And
Does that mean,
he's already peed.
You were on the second cycle.
Yeah,
you had to stay out an extra lap.
Well, I could not piss the first time back.
I don't even know how to transition.
I don't think.
Out of this
Well,
topic.
I got a question for Joel. Like,
I haven't even talked to you.
Yeah.
Freddie would remember before they rebuilt Phoenix. Do you remember the bathroom in the end of the garage there? How close the urinals were together?
Oh,
You could use
oh,
the
yeah.
middle one.
You didn't need a cell phone back then.
eBay Motors is here for the ride with the parts you need at the prices you want. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they're guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Come on. Anyway,
On
Kansas.
the
Kansas.
topic of urinals, is
Kansas got great urinals.
Is Kansas championship race worthy?
Kansas is not championship race worthy, only for the fact that I'm not going to Kansas in the middle of November.
Oh my God, you're from Long Island. You sound like Jordan Bianchi right now.
Nobody's gonna. It's not me. I'd go.
Who gives a
The
if
fans,
anybody shows
the
up?
fans. Who gives if the fans show up? That's probably a pretty big deal, I'd imagine.
So fans show up at Green Bay. Fans show up in
why do we
for
have
New England Patriots.
Why do we have a race every year at Phoenix? It's not because the racing's great. Because the fans show up.
Money. Did I say that out
The
loud?
answer's money. Yeah, your skirt's in your face. Go to where the racing's at. If the racing's great, people come.
It ain't
I
gonna
got
happen.
I got snow gear for you.
And
Boss.
I don't care. I go to the Turkey Derby in December every year. It's not going to bother me, but we need fans
I went to
show
the
up.
Turkey
is the
Derby
problem.
about 2 weeks ago up at
Did you?
the Triple B.
Just shoot
I was
your
gonna give
couple.
a shout out to the Triple B Ranch.
I'd be curious that year 9/11 happened, how many people were at New Hampshire when we raced up there at the end of November. You remember that? I think it was sold out.
Oh, in 9/11, the height of NASCAR. Yeah, it's probably pretty big.
Robbie Gordon won. Remember that?
Froze to death.
It was probably pretty big.
But
crowd
you're
in
still
the height
fine.
of the sport.
You're still fine. I mean, they're going to come either way. Cole. I mean, if you're true fans,
You're gonna go.
Shit.
it's like me. You know, I since I went part time, I'm sitting at home and I'm watching a little bit of hockey, and I've got the. I even
You don't
bought,
watch a little bit of hockey. You watch hockey every day.
I watch hockey playoffs. My team's been out for quite some time. Like the middle of the year, we were done. The Rangers doing good. They beat Carolina last night. Not a Carolina fan. Rooting for Freddie a little bit because we're buddies.
Want to go to Game 6 next Thursday?
If you, I
He
mean,
might not like you that much.
I'm gonna bring my bike if we go to Game 6.
Yeah, I got to bring vodka. We'll be fine. Speaking of vodka, High Rock Vodka, this episode is brought to you by High Rock Vodka.
That was good. You didn't even have to read that one.
No,
That
that's
was
good.
perfect.
Just wait till hit the reads later.
We don't have any,
Oh.
thank God.
Moving on.
You think I slurred consumer cellular before? Wait till later.
Can I get a dentist appointment today?
Yes, there's one for 150 at Limbo Montgomery that I just canceled.
I need one. My dog got her teeth cleaned Thursday. You know what?
Oh.
This is dumb as shit, but my dog, I take her down and get her teeth cleaned, get oil checked, get some blood work done, get a year's worth of medicine. $750.
That stings.
And I'm like, no wonder I don't date. I mean, my dog is
all
like
you
a
got.
3-hour episode at the doctor.
That's like a Roos Chris dinner.
I don't
right
know
there.
if that's why you don't
Dang.
date. I don't know.
That could, yeah, you might be right. You might be right.
Anyways, Kyle Busch's comments on the current star power in NASCAR.
Good luck reading all this, Casey. Let me know
How
what
fans
happens.
from the 90s aren't as captivated as they are today, saying you have the diehard fans of Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Terry Labonte, Mark Martin, Harry Gant. Guys from the 90s, our world is a lot different fan base that's following along. I don't feel like we're able to transition a lot of the fans that were fans of those drivers into a William Byron fan, into a Kyle fan, or whoever.
I'm spot on for his comments, but
Okay.
here's, I think, the biggest disconnect. Let me ask you this, Brett. What car did Jeff Gordon drive?
24.
What color was it?
It was rainbow.
DuPont, every week, right?
Yep.
Dale Earnhardt, what was he in?
Black Intimidator.
Rusty Wallace.
Blue Miller Lite.
Terry Labonte,
That beautiful Kellogg's car.
Mark Martin,
Valvoline.
Harry Gant.
Sculpt.
What was Daniel Suarez's sponsor this week?
No idea.
These guys can't connect because you
In
don't
the way.
see.
I think it said in the way on the side of it.
You don't see.
Seriously?
You had.
You're gonna get a tweet.
Oh, you're probably getting mad.
Oh,
I ain't going to be back but a couple more times this year, and I don't give a damn.
So
you just pissed off the fiance. Right?
I'm not done pissing them off. I got notes.
Joel said last night, I've got notes. I said, you're way ahead of TJ. TJ made a note in 10 years on this show. But I think that's the biggest disconnect. Back in the day, you related because you saw Dale Earnhardt every week in the 3 Goodwrench car. You saw Rusty Wallace in the Miller Lite car. Nowadays, it's hard to relate unless you're, the diehard fans pick their drivers. And I see every week on Reddit, every week, I'm just getting back into the sport. Who should my favorite driver be? And and you shouldn't ask that question because you're going to figure it out. I always tell everybody all the time, like, if you just watch something, you're going to figure out or find a guy to pull for. It's the same thing. Like, if you can't decide on anything and you flip a coin, when the coin's in the air, you're going to know which way you want it to land.
Dude,
something's got to pull you in.
Yeah, but you're opening up a topic that's probably never been opened up in this sport, and that is branding. Okay? When you think about the most famous football team, whether you like them or not, and in the NFL, what is their biggest branding point?
The stupid ass star.
The star on the side of the helmet.
I hate them guys.
The Dallas Cowboys.
I thought you were talking about the Chiefs.
When you think about the animal on the side of the helmet that roamed the wild, that's one of the largest animals in America that almost became extinct, and then we saved them in the Midwest. TJ's favorite team, the Buffalo Bills. When you turn on the TV as a sports fan, you don't have to even question who is playing, because when you look at their logo and when you look at their colors, you immediately know. And at this point in the NASCAR exploration, you're right. Fans have no idea who's in what car when they turn the television on. And now I'm getting ready to make a bigger point.
Uh-oh.
If you give these teams the amount of revenue share they're asking for from you, NASCAR, you're going to get them to a point to where they can brand their car the exact same every single week and put whatever sponsorship is available on the car and work it into their own brand. Right now, that's not a thing. And I hope y'all are smart enough to understand what I just said, because I realize I've had a couple of cocktails in my coffee cup.
100% agree. When I fell in love with the sport, I was maybe 8 or 10 years old going to North Wilkesboro. And you go there, and you got Darrell Waltrip out there in the 88 Gatorade car. It's about 30 foot long, that Monte Carlo. Maybe 1979, 79 or something maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe 10.
He could ride 14 people around that car.
But, oh, yeah. You couldn't even get it in the hauler. You had to drive it home. But I bought a placemat. I remember I probably still got it somewhere. And, I became a fan. This is so long ago that the Gatorade was in a glass bottle. I know.
I drank Gatorade out of a glass bottle.
Maybe you remember that.
When you twisted it, it popped.
Yeah, it was like
that little ball in the middle popped.
And it was
I'm
made
not
by
that young, Joel.
Stokely Van Camps. I know, but I mean,
we're that old.
but I think what you got to have now is the car needs to look the same every week. And I get it. You got to have sponsors, whether you got to have 15 of them or one. But even with Almirola, he was in that Smithfield card every week, and Denny's probably done it more than anybody with the FedEx, and now that's gone. He's showing up with
Larson's
Mavis.
probably Larson and Logano more probably the two that you would see.
Yeah, you're
consistent.
right now,
Right.
and I mean, it's kind of weird when you show up in the 12 or the 2's painted like the 12 or something.
Yes.
And I know that gets confusing. Like I had a monster car yesterday. There was another monster car out there.
Oh,
I
there was a
kinda
few
glad.
of them that look like too.
I think Haley Deegan even drove by in a monster truck at one point.
But the days of the flying aces or whatever, like from last week, they didn't have to worry about their paint scheme. It was the same all year.
But
They built 8 cars and there they are.
To your point, in an era where sponsors have to try to figure out ways to make their brand the focal point in a very sponsor saturated market, and would you want your sponsor, your car, your logo to stay the same exactly week after week after week for 38 weeks when you have other products that you want to highlight, such as we talked about JTG with their B2B branding?
How much would you pay if you are Pennzoil to be on the Dallas Cowboys uniform on the top left shoulder? I'd pay a lot.
I wouldn't pay a
It's
dime.
it's the same as
I wouldn't pay
John
them a
Menard.
cent.
It's the same as John Menard. Everything he's got is his color. Whether it's in the truck series, wherever he's running it, it's that
It's the
color.
Menards car. We just don't know who's driving it.
Well, that's
Well,
the thing.
that gets us confused at
And-
times.
and-
But he has his own deal.
And Blake made a great point. Just texted to our group while we're doing this. NBA. You turn an NBA game on now, and I guarantee you it takes you 2 minutes to figure out which team's which. You know, they've
I had that problem this
got
weekend.
so many different uniforms that you turn it on. Like, I'm watching the Knicks. I turned the Knicks on, who's like my hometown team. I'm not a diehard fan like I am the Rangers, but I'm a Knicks fan. And I turn it on, I go, which one is the Knicks? You know, there's colors I've never even seen before.
I don't watch much basketball. But I did watch Caitlin Clark.
But I'm just saying,
that was phenomenal.
If it pops up there, you don't even know them. So it's just all about recognition. Like, you want to turn a game on, like, you know, and even NFL has some, you know, they're trending through third uniforms and some alternate stuff. But you want to turn a game on and go, all right, that's my team. You know, that's the guy I root for. That's whatever it is, and you need that recognition.
Like he's saying with the star. The star is always a star. Well, the NHL will get a throwback uniform. You know, they put them out there just to sell some stuff, you know, or whatever. And we get the old Dallas Stars deal. I was rooting against them last night, but I think they pulled one out. I don't know. I think racing was better when everybody's paint scheme was you got the paint scheme for the year. And I'm an
special.
old guy.
It would be special. Like, what would like be the All-Star race usually? Like, Dale came out with that silver. Like, you'd have one a year where you have like this crazy paint scheme, and they'd make this gazillion dollars on merch.
Yeah, and it went to it was totally silver.
Yeah, and
instead
now,
of being black.
And now,
I think, like,
same sponsor.
Not to get too technical, but sponsorship for a lot of my career dictated how much money the race team spent, and they were able to dictate that because they were building the car from the ground up. Now, the cost of building the car is controlled by the vendor pricing. And then whatever you have left, you spend on hiring the best engineer, the best sim, whatever, development. So the model's completely changed, but I never thought Freddie would say something so brilliant in all my life is what he just said. And I think it goes back to a bigger picture, which is, you know, I think we're going to get to in a second, like sponsors that are paying X amount of money and teams that are earning Y amount of money can't put teams in a position where they're losing money.
Well, on that point, spot on, spot off. Denny Hamlin's comments on charters, specifically on justifying a higher revenue share for the teams, saying, "We've had 11 teams go out of business since 2016. That is not good. And certainly if we can continue on the trend of a couple of stakeholders doing really well and one not, that will continue. And that's not going to be good for our sport in the future." Spot on, spot off, Brett.
So I'm spot off for one thing that I think is missing here, and that is what gravitates fans to our sport the most, which is drivers. And drivers aren't considered a stakeholder in this conversation. And to some degree, they're making less than they've ever made. And Joel and TJ and I, we've flown around on a lot of helicopters, a lot of jets, sat in a lot of limos, been on a lot of big vacations because
some big ranches.
Because our drivers, he's got the Triple B ranch going on there with Greg Biffle, but because our drivers made over $10 million a year. And that was because the sponsorship, Casey, was rolling in. Well, the sponsorship is still present, but it's not as big as it was. And it's easy for people to say, well, you guys are complaining these drivers make $1 million a year. It's not really about that for me on the driver's side. It's about they need a bigger presence. We don't have a players union. Give me another major league sport without a players union. We don't have collective bargaining for the players, which is the drivers. Give me another sport where that exists, right? But to Denny's other comments, I am 100% spot on. I don't know how many teams have gone out of business, or if he's referencing gone out of business versus been sold, because there is a big difference there. But what I'm telling y'all is, the Daytona 500 is 7 months from now, and we don't have a deal done. I think we were one of the first people to really bring it to light and say there's a big difference in a 7-year lease of a charter versus a lifetime ownership of a charter. If the lifetime thing happens, NASCAR is relinquishing a lot of control and a lot of leverage. They've never been willing to do that. I would be curious to know what Brian France would say in the room versus Jim France would say in the room. Because I feel like we're going back, and it's not a bad thing, but just we're going back in time into ownership where, Brian France was the new guy and Jim France is the Bill France era from an age and mentality standpoint. So if we don't get this charter deal done soon, what is a charter worth right now in the garage?
Nothing.
It ain't worth the how much did Spire allegedly just pay for a charter?
40 million.
40 million. I said BJ McLeod should win the Nobel Prize for economics if the charters go away.
When he did that deal,
or it's 3 people.
I tweeted GOAT because, you're never going to How are you going to do that?
And
then you're sitting at maybe one of these other race teams that I used to work at, and you're going, wait a minute, 40, what we got? How many? It ain't worth $40,000 right now.
Well,
so what are you?
The thing is, like, and you hear Dale Jr. on his show now, like a couple weeks ago, say, "I regret not buying one." You know,
when they were $2 million.
2 years ago, he was like, "It's crazy. They want
They're $10 million.
They're $10 million. This is crazy. They want $10 million for these things." And now, 2 years later, he's going, "I should have bought one then." You know, I should. Which now maybe it's not worth it. I think at the end of the day, a deal gets done. But right now, how do you like? Last year, you're selling them on TV. You know, it was like a stock. You know, like it's trending this way. We think this new TV deal, we're going to get this much money. So now it's worth X amount more than it was before.
And then you come out and say, hey, we blowed the doors off the TV deal, but we ain't giving y'all nothing else.
But here's the thing.
Or we're giving you
who owns the TV deal? NASCAR. Who owns all the rights to the venue? NASCAR.
Who owns half the tracks?
Who owns the vendors, not literally owns, but who owns the procurement process from where your parts and pieces come from to put this car together? Who tells you where they're coming from?
NASCAR.
I'm glad you said it. I don't want to have to say it. Who is in control?
TJ, say it.
He can't.
Joel.
This is their world, and we're just living in it.
Well, and I mean, you got to applaud them if they can get by with this, but can they really get by with this? They're on a slippery slope right now of, you know, are we going to just how much chess are we going to play?
The biggest two things I think come out of this deal, and what I think the ownership is hoping for, and I think the fans should be kind of on the team owner's side, is to Brett's point, you can get some of that brand awareness back if you don't need to sell a sponsors to, you know, a different race. You're going to get more common paint schemes. You're going to get more brand awareness of that's the 11. You know, that's the.
Well,
Mavis.
does a fan need to buy 7 T-shirts to be rooting for his driver, or can he just buy 2?
And that, you know, that's the Mavis 11 car, or you know, the McDonald's 23, whatever it is.
And that's like Brad. You know, Brad's got a ton of sponsors.
Oh,
you guys,
we all do.
I mean,
but I think one of the biggest things you're going to get out of a deal where the teams are making more money is you're going to get the most talented guys in the car, in the seat driving, because they don't have to bring money. You're going to see a guy like Caden Honeycutt that ran phenomenal in the truck race the other night get an opportunity, because you don't need to find a guy with money if you're getting a bigger cut of the share. You're gonna go out and search for the most talented guy versus the guy that has
the truck
a sponsor.
The truck deal model is in pretty big trouble. I mean, not to get way off topic here, but this is spot off. But the truck guys have to go in for tech on Friday. Probably 65% of the truck teams still fly commercially. So they got to leave on Thursday. They go for the tech, then they do Saturday. And then some of them don't even leave. I mean, like Duke Thorson's guys, they were gone way longer.
They drive a lot of places.
And now they fly in commercial to this deal. The model has to get better.
You go
for
back
some
to
of the
this
deals.
comment from Kyle, and every guy that he listed there is a super talented race car driver, and they got to where they were because they were super talented, hardworking, blue collar guys that these fans could relate to. And now, and you know, a guy like William Byron, phenomenal race car driver, but it's hard for the blue collar guy to relate to William Byron. In my opinion, you know, when you hear William Byron came from iRacing, you go, what? You know, what the hell?
I mean, you're not going to see any clips him out getting up hay
and that's
fishing
not a knock
around
on William. I love William to
lake.
death. But, you know, it's hard to relate to that guy if you're Joel Edmonds.
Nobody gets more publicity in our sport and spends less money in our sport than iRacing. I will die on that hill.
You should join. I want to see you on iRacing so bad.
He
Brett.
was on there. I said he had a sim for all of like 6 hours.
I want to see you on there racing I want to race with you on there.
Is it hard? Is it hard to do?
It's hard. Yeah, it's not
I had a
easy.
guy that I'm spotting for now ask me.
See, right now they're getting free publicity.
Are you on iRacing? I'm like,
listen,
what
iRacing,
do you mean?
in my opinion,
What do you
which
mean?
you may
Joel on
agree or
iRacing.
not,
They don't have internet in Mayberry.
and you may agree or not, but iRacing has helped a lot. I mean, nowadays, back in the day, you know, Texas is a perfect example.
It was a sim before the sim.
They kind of just went and did Texas, and it didn't turn out well. Now everywhere they go, they can
nothing that's ever happened in Texas as far as the racetrack has turned out well.
They can build it. They can build it. They can
but
build it
I
out
think
on
Marcus
iRacing.
is going to fix it at some point.
But two things. It makes it more relatable to fans because when you can race things like Millbridge, when you can race things like Texas.
Millbridge, drink.
yeah, we haven't had that in a while.
Spot on, spot off. Taking 2 tires on the final stop compared to 4 tires. TJ.
I knew you were gonna ask
2
me.
tires won the race.
2 tires
what I
did win the
asked.
race, but I did not think that many guys would take 2 tires. As bad as guys were wearing their tires out and stuff, I did not see that many. Larson had 4 billion laps on his lefts or whatever. I don't know, like,
60 something.
Yeah. So I mean, and having the problems they were having, I was surprised that we came out where we did. But I mean, obviously.
So the biggest thing that was surprising to me was 4 tires won the race last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think Martin, I asked Drew on the plane, and Martin started 10th. If he starts 8th, I think he wins.
I do too.
But it was so crazy to me. And what I didn't realize today, with Martin starting 10th, I think Martin was first off on 4. So if he was 10th, that means 9 in front of him took 2. But then I didn't realize there was guys mixed in between, like you said, between you and Martin.
Oh, yeah.
That probably took 2 also.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them.
And what you saw last year was guys like 99 was one of them, 22 was one of them, maybe the 43 was another. They were back half of the lead lap, and they cycled to the lead and didn't win, but they benefited. They net gained. But I was surprised to see so many, and I'm sure James Small was as well.
We all were.
Because at the end of the race, the 19 was the best car. When the sun went down, like when it got the full night, I thought the 19 took off, and I thought he was.
So that's his best short run car. I think we could have beat him in the long run.
Maybe, yeah, probably. But he was hauling ass.
He was.
He was gonna. Denny was a sitting duck if that yellow. I mean, whether or not he had to pit, it didn't matter. 19 was going to go by Denny.
How many more races before Brad wins? Because
hopefully none.
He's knocking. I mean, seriously.
What do we need to do? What do we do in
Obviously,
Mayberry?
I mean,
We sacrifice chicken
I think
or something?
I think he's trying too hard. It's like me when I try to fish really hard, I don't catch nothing. But I mean, Brad is right there, and I mean, I thought he had it at Talladega.
I got to give a shout out to our friends at Dirty Mo Doe, which we might start calling them Dirty Mo No.
Do we need?
So
fans need to fade them.
They tweeted. I saw 2 clips this week, and one was definitely bet on Brad to beat Busher. Busher's not been good at mile and a halves. That didn't work out well. And Michael McDowell is definitely going to finish outside the top 20, which he ran top 10 most of the race. He got wrecked. He got wrecked
and
then still finished in the top 10 because he cycled up there. So maybe it's Dirty Mo No, but we'll save that fade for a little. Poor Tim's is having a struggle there.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, no, for sure they were the 2 best Fords yesterday. You guys and Gragson were the 3, and maybe that's we talked about on here before. Last week, we've been kind of harping on it, and it's Ford should be worried. I don't know if Ford should be worried, but maybe Penske needs to be worried because they're supposed to be the flagship Ford team, and I haven't seen the speed out of them versus what you guys have had.
I don't think they're
10.
worried as far as TJ's company. I think 3 of them at Stewart Haas are because that 10's running pretty good at a lot of places. I told y'all 10 ever. You didn't listen.
10 ever.
Remember?
10 ever.
I told you.
Yeah, I don't know. You're always trying to get better, and I think we started off the year with the new car. We probably weren't. We didn't. Obviously, whatever we did wasn't as close as we thought it was going to be, and we've done this before. You just chip away at it and just keep racing. Keep working every week.
You guys are right there. I mean, he's been so close, and these things are tough to win. They're really tough to win.
If they weren't.
I mean, look at Boucher. Wow. I mean, you won't get many finishes like yesterday. No. And
just races in general. That was a good race from all. I mean, I think all cars were pretty competitive. You had some from every group, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of things that wins is racecraft. Racecraft is something that
big there.
Some people don't have, and Chris Buescher has it, and he still got beat. You know what I mean? But.
So does this kind of even the playing field a little bit, Freddie? Because we go to Kansas and everyone's like, "Oh, it's going to be."
So I said this last week. I said we were talking about Ford panic, and I said everybody outside of Hendrick and JGR needs to panic and look again. Hendrick wins. If you look, Trey Ryan sent us a great stat this week about the top 6 out of the 7 finishers again this week are Hendrick and JGR. So it's. Man, it's hard.
But this week, I mean, with that green, white checker and 2-tire, 4-tire deal, kind of mixes that up. If you look
it's
at
every race, TJ.
But I'm saying if you look at, I don't know what the top 10 was before the last caution. that's what you probably should go look at more for a true.
It definitely
for a true,
shuffled up the goods and the bads.
Yeah, like
because some people that should have been there were not there.
That's what I'm saying. If you go look at the top 10 before Kyle spins out and brings that yellow, that's probably a true indication.
And
of what
that'll
what
tell
it
you
would
how
have been.
hard these cars are to drive. Nobody was in front of him. He was in a lane by himself, and he spun out down on the bottom. That's how hard these guys are working to drive these cars.
And to your point, it gets that, like, and Jimmy Johnson brought it up, and these guys, they used to be able to lean on that right rear and just get yawed out and hold it. And this thing, once you got a
flat right rear the whole time.
Once you cross that threshold, it's over. Brad.
Yeah.
It happened to Brad last week at Dover, ruined his race. It's just,
Riley in practice, he's like, I just don't know how much I can put on this right rear. And it's his first mile and a half. At a super speedway, you just run it till it wrecks. Even in practice, or there's not even practice anymore, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was like, I don't know what to do. I think I'm okay. And then he goes out and runs his qualifying and runs 0.3 quicker, and still starts in the back. Because the second group was way faster than the first.
The
group
line
or something.
from what he's used to in the Xfinity car, he can live in that area where it's yawed out and you can drive it sideways.
Is not there.
There is no line for the Cup car when you get out. I mean.
Well, Kyle Busch proved that with how many 7 to go or something.
Look at last week, pretty challenging race. This week you got Kyle spinning out. Last week Brad spun out. These are guys that are pretty know what they're doing too.
As good as has ever done it,
I would say.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll hear our... I know what you're going to say, Joel.
You got to pee?
No, my nose is hitting the mic. Brett needs ice.
When we come back, we will hear the best reaction theater calls from you all.
You got the greatest ice I've ever had in my life.
Thank you.
That is a nice ice.
We've iced together for years, me and this guy.
Now it's time for our favorite segment, Reaction Theater, where our fans get to be the stars of the show. Reaction Theater is brought to you every week by Consumer Cellular.
Consumer Cellular has fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as the leading carriers, but with plans as low as $20 a month, TJ.
And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month for free when they sign up using promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. Let's get to the calls.
What a race. From start to finish, what a race. That finish made me scream, made me wake up my newborn. I'm probably going to be having to sleep on the couch tonight, but it was such a good race, I don't care. And how about my boy Rowdy? Spinning out and then somehow going from 20th to 8th in those last couple of laps.
Man, Kyle, listen, you watch these race teams and you watch Gragson run top 10 and the other 3 are not even in the same zip code. And you watch Ross Chastain leading the race, Daniel Suarez not in the same zip code. With these cars, we didn't necessarily think this was going to be a common thing that teams, because usually we talk about you can throw a blanket over them and whatever team you're on, that's kind of where you're at, right? And so for RCR, Kyle's obviously found a lot of speed. He's been qualifying a lot better. He's been racing a lot better. He was running top 3 at points in the race yesterday. But as a team, you got to translate that speed that those cars find into other cars. If you'd have told me 2 years ago, sitting here, that Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing was going to be the best Ford team in the garage, I'd have told you you're crazy. And they are hands down the best Ford team in the garage.
If you'd have told me that Austin Dillon had a chance to go to victory lane yesterday, I would have told you you're crazy. But I thought at one point the 8 could win.
And the RFK cars were really good yesterday. But if
I
you
got
would
that
have, so
after.
I know. Listen, I skipped over it because we got a little deep the last time.
Sorry,
but no, you're good. Keep going. You do. RFK showed up yesterday, but before that, Stuart Haas, Noah Gragson has been the best Ford. Where Gragson and Blaney
10 ever.
If you would have told me that anybody from Stuart Haas was going to be the flagship Ford in any race this year, I would have told you you're crazy, and that was in February. So it's just the way things go week to week. But yesterday, by far, the RF car.
It's obvious that what Brad has taken to Roush Fenway Keselowski.
We both worked there at the
Majors Racing is working. It's working.
Appreciate it.
Because
RFKM.
the results are there.
Listen. This is probably going to say some stuff that me and you might not have said, but we would have a joke back in the day when it was me, you, and Herm were there, and somebody we'd have a good run and say qualifying. They'd say, Somebody would say, "We're back," and
We're back.
I said, "We're back. We way back."
Exactly right.
Hey, this segment's supposed to go fast. I got.
All right, sorry, I forgot about
Was he? You still going to the dentist?
I forgot we were in actually did it.
Tiffany will get mad at us. We got to keep us rolling.
Kurt Busch gets out of his car in 2003, goes over and congratulates Ricky Craven, says to the media, "This was some hard-fought racing."
He said fart.
Hard-fought racing.
Goes to the media, cries and bitches and moans about how he didn't get a win for the playoffs. Learn to live in the moment, you fat.
Who was he talking about?
You sack.
I thought he
Is
said.
that what he
I thought
said?
he said fat.
He's talking about Busher.
He did.
He said
he did say
he
that,
called
yes.
Busher fat.
Wow.
I think that's what he said. That's
Yeah,
what
I
it
must
is.
Busher's
be-
fat. I'm enormous.
Real fat.
Jeez.
Oh, I thought he handled it as he should for somebody who is, fighting for a playoff spot.
Listen.
Oh, yeah.
This
Was
is.
that
We've
close?
already talked about why it would have been like that. You get done with the race, and we're looking at the scoring pile, and you won the race. Your team
Everybody.
is celebrating, and then it gets pulled from you at that point. I mean, I don't blame him for being a little bit upset. I didn't hear his interview.
I don't know how you don't react way worse.
Yeah.
And
I mean-
the picture that he was looking at during that broadcast, it was a little blurry, so it was hard for him to actually see during that moment.
I think it was
so
blurry
he
for
handled
all
it
of
well.
us.
It was blurry to us. We're driving to the
Yeah.
airport. We're looking at stuff, the wide, the thin, the whatever.
I'm a pit tour guide at Kansas Speedway and been doing it since almost the inception of that track. And I will
Inception.
tell you, we got the best fan experience in NASCAR, and our finishes over the last many years have proven it. What a fantastic finish. Sad for Busher, but my God, what a weekend for photo finishes.
I can't disagree with him.
Yeah.
If you're a tour guide, when we go back there, September.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure when the inception was, but
If you're a tour guide in September, bring by the old 23 hauler, and I'll say, hey.
yeah, I'll get you a hat. Come by.
It is a well laid out facility too.
Somebody's holler. Maybe I'll be there.
You ain't going there. Oh, you can truck race?
I think I might be doing a truck race. Come on Friday.
We just need 36 races at Kansas. That was a great race. Other than Brett Griffin screwing up Denny Hamlin's pit stop. I don't know why he hates Hamlin so much.
I was wondering when that was coming up.
Unfortunately, went to the race, but had to leave with my son first race, but he was able to get an autograph from Chase Elliott, so made his day. Overall, great day.
Made Chase's day?
Made Chase's day to get his autograph.
What'd you
Brett,
do? Yeah, let's
so
talk
by the way,
about
I
that.
heard you got called out. And listen,
Yeah.
I know the story behind this, but I want Brett to have his opportunity to because Clint likes to we torture Clint during the races.
Clint was reacting to something else, though, too.
Clint's gonna take shots at us any chance he gets. So Brett, here's the forum. Go ahead and defend yourself.
First of all, I don't know what Clint said, but
Well, he
Clint
said
is
it was
so
your
mad at me
fault.
right now, he won't even text me back. This is pre-race, so I text him while it was raining because Freddie and I were like debating, all right, man, are we spending the night here or are we, getting this thing in late?
We were saying where we're going to
So
go.
I text Clint. I'm like, hey, man, is there a TV window? And if so, when does it end? Because if they got to be on air by 8, we know it's got to stop raining by 7. So he never texts me back. So clearly he's still mad about me giving him crap about showing grills on the infield in the middle of the race.
So he's hurt.
I mean,
He's hurt.
honestly.
Well, the only tweet I saw numerous times yesterday was
Jay, I got him right there. That's all I got to say.
Matt
Got him.
Weaver tweeted this, who's a respectable person watching the race, and said Kevin Harvick is getting ready to make a poignant point, and we cut to a charcoal Weber grill in the infield.
What did Clint say about me?
He basically just said, for somebody who's very critical about everything, literally everything, in his own words.
Should we save this
Well,
for
when you're perfect
Save
like
it for
I
one
am.
It
idiot.
is nice to get called out.
When you're
and I
perfect-
think Clint could have added to it. He was trying to be nice and politically correct. So, Clint, if you would like to add to your commentary, we can probably all have a
Hang on a
conversation.
second. Hang on a second.
This all came from something else, though.
It comes from us
Exactly.
torturing him.
No, before that, they were
Yeah.
reacting to a radio transcript, I thought, that was played.
So this is what I did. I walked down to Lambert, who I have a utmost respect
So
for.
the 33, here's back way up. The 33 ends up kind of blocking the 11 in his
Well, we can back up further than that. Real quick. Into stage 1, caution comes out. Denny's basically leading the race. If
You're
he's not
running
leading,
last.
I'm running. I'm the last car on the lead lap, essentially.
I was last.
I'm running next to
Go
last.
take his.
So I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, if Denny has a normal 9-second, 10-second pit stop, we're going to get there as he's getting done. So I walk down to Lambert, and I'm like, look, man, if it's close, we're going to stop, and we're going to let you out. If it's not close, the crew chief is going to call Austin into the stall. And so he says, okay. And then apparently Lambert keys up to Denny and says, hey, man, Brett said he's going to let you out in the event that it looks like you're done with your 4-tire stop and they're close. So as we get there, Denny's not close to done. So we go into our stall. We probably should have went a couple feet deeper. Denny had slid a little long. And so after the stop, Denny's not sure if he's clear to get out. So when he comes out.
Are you blaming Denny?
He comes out really slow.
Denny blamed himself.
And he comes out really, really slow.
Not making
And then
it.
at the last second, he realizes I'm clear. And he goes ahead and leaves and exits his pit stall. And I go back to Lambert, and I'm like, man, we could have got in a little deeper. Did you have a bad stop? Because I didn't anticipate that they would still be there, honestly, when we got 5 away. And he said, no, Denny just took the blame. He said he got in way too deep. So I don't know what Clint said, but Clint has a microphone. I'm not mad at whatever Clint said. I just think it's funny he won't even text me back.
So Danny was in pit stall 40 yesterday, and I know this is not supposed to take this long, but Danny was in pit stall 40 yesterday, and I can promise you, Danny will never, ever, ever, or Gaypart, I should say, will never, ever pick that pit stall again because not only did they get blocked by the 33, the next pit stop, they have a good stop. They come out, and the 41 is parked in the middle of pit road, and they almost run in the back of him, and they got to stop because I think Ryan, and I don't even know, it's hard to blame Ryan, but what Ryan is doing is he's coming in late, so he checks up to let whoever. Let me look. I'll look right here because I got it pulled up. I don't know who the hell the 41 was around, but the 48 maybe or some 9. Like he's checking up to let somebody out. But when you check up in the middle of pit road, there's guys coming behind you too. So it's so like you're in a no-win situation there. You're doing the right thing for the guy there, but now you just screwed the 11.
Yeah.
So what I can promise you, that's the risk you take with picking your stall back there.
Spotters used to work together a lot in a lot of different scenarios. A lot of that craft has gone away. When I'm on offense, you don't necessarily feel good anymore about going down to the guy. Me and Jason Jarrett talked about this yesterday and said, hey, man, give me a break, because they're not going to give you a break. They're racing like their life's on the line. They're racing to stay on the lead lap. They're racing for the lucky dog. So they're living in their own little world. The gentleman's agreement that Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon and Dale Jarrett and all those guys had, it's dead. It's 100% dead. Guys like Ross Chastain, and we could keep going on this, they've killed it. And this car has killed it. So like when you look at this thing,
this car is great.
I was in a position yesterday to where at certain points in the race, I went down to people because I am not there to screw up the race.
You went and tapped somebody on the shoulder yesterday?
Austin is there to learn. RCR is there to have a third car gathering data to get better. And so the last thing I want to do is change the outcome of a race or screw somebody over. And if my guy does something stupid, I've always taken responsibility or part of the responsibility if that happens. So, Casey, my point is, like, spotters aren't working together like they used to. Lambert and I worked together later on in the race. I went down to him when he was leading, and I said, hey, man, where do you want me to be when you catch me? And he said the bottom. I said, I got you, bro. And that's exactly how it happened.
I agree with Brett. I'm part-time just like he is, and I'm there yesterday doing a guy that's getting run down by the leaders late in the race. And all I do is tell him, hey, the 5's running against the wall, the 17's running the lane down, here they come.
Yeah, that's what you
and don't be in the way.
And we talked about this, and
don't show any favoritism either way.
And we talked about this with TJ last week because they were damaged and they were struggling.
That was hard.
But what you want of a lap car is, and TJ, whoever you want to give credit to, did a great job of this. As long as you know where they're going to be, and if they're not going to be idiots on the exit of a corner. Like if I could say the 6 has been on the bottom, you go around wherever. Like
okay, I'm ready to talk about the truck race.
But I mean, like that's all you ask for lap cars. If you could see,
as far as traffic,
or or they if you lap car like Brett said, if they come to you and say, "Where the hell do you want me?" I'll go there.
Yeah, don't
whatever it is.
Don't right lane me all the way down
change lane.
for 2 miles
change
and
lanes.
then go to the bottom.
But there's spotters up there that don't even have enough common sense to realize it's a thing. That's where my struggle is.
Guess there's a glitch in the matrix now. How can we trust electronic scoring now that for 5 seconds We all thought Busher won just to have our f***ing hearts ripped out. Hendrick fanboys are probably milking their prostates over that finish. I want to be excited about it.
Casey, what's
but
that face?
I just can't.
Prostates will always get that face.
Milking.
Negates the finish altogether.
My gosh.
And while I'm in a ranting
Oh,
mood,
he's still going.
I don't think it's a coincidence anymore about how this car races on 1.5 miles, particularly at night.
At
NASCAR, just reconfigure Martinsville into 1.5 miles since you're never going to listen to the fans or drivers when it comes to horsepower and tire wear.
Yeah.
First of all, milking prostates is that's the first.
right.
We've had
All
some
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Mentioned shaving backs. We had a pineapples last week.
The
and
milking
now
prostate deals
Rocks.
only in goats.
rocks.
Maybe.
I still think Brett's the only one that knows anything about rocks. Like I've never heard that about anybody else. But
I Googled it and I tweeted it, and it's a thing.
it's,
Did you see the
maybe
motorhome
it's in
that I
the-
found?
Maybe it's in the point.
Did you see the motorhome I found?
I saw the one 2 doors down or something like 3 doors
No,
down.
did you see the motorhome that was at the Kansas racetrack with
No.
the pineapple and the flamingos?
Oh, so they were.
What's that
And
mean?
apparently flamingos are part of the swinger club too.
Brett, was that yours?
What?
It was not mine. I
Did
don't have a motorhome.
did y'all stay in the infield without me?
We had an upside down bus.
All right, last one.
Good Lord.
Do you just hang up the phone when you're done with your message? I don't know how this works.
Drunk.
Mayberry.
I don't. Oh, Jesus, I don't know how this works. I just left a message, and I don't know if I done it good or bad, or if it went through or whatever, but I hope like hell it did, because I studied for that son of a 15 minutes.
Got to wave around
Do
too.
I hang up now? Do I press the button?
Push the button.
I better hang up. It didn't do nothing.
Give it to your wife, bud.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever you originally
Give the
said
phone to your
and
wife.
said before, I'm so
I
sorry.
promise you that message was better than whatever the hell you sent.
Joel,
5
speaking
minutes.
of wives, why are you not married by now?
We
you never
already
get
figured
married?
that out.
It's kind of like the fun sucking deal, you know. That
Oh, you
NASCAR
can't
started
say that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why? He's a fun sucker.
Yeah.
Is that
I'm
what
just-
you want?
I'm just not that much.
I just want to know, like, when in one sentence, why are you not married? Why have you never been married?
One sentence. In one sentence.
3 words or less.
No, he gets a sentence.
It could be my double chins.
No, that's not it.
I was
Hold on,
trying to take
I think
the
my
easy
headset
route.
went out. I've got 3 chins and I've still got
Have
married.
you seen that sign in people's yards that said, "I'm an asshole," but I just wanted a sign? That's me.
That's you. That's you.
I mean, undoubtedly, I've had some pretty good girlfriends over the years.
Because you're
But-
hot. That's why.
That's what it is. You're
I mean,
damn
it's-
good looking.
It's
Son.
eyes, of course.
No, Herm's got the eyes. We're gonna leave that with Herm. Remember that?
Some gate guard complimented Herm on his eyes.
Did you hear that one?
I even tried to date a girl 1,000 miles away, and that didn't work.
Was that
For
the last
her,
one?
for
You
you.
lost your most
miles.
recent girlfriend?
Well, we
Hold
still
on
talk
now.
a little bit.
Let's talk.
but,
Let's get back into this.
Her dog didn't like my dog.
Oh, that ain't gonna work.
No.
That ain't gonna work.
I mean,
That's
How
it.
would
That's-
you know if you're 1,000 miles away?
No, they don't.
Well,
They
I went
out.
up there this winter, Casey, and I took my dog, and her dog had to have a muzzle because she bites dogs.
We just did a
We need a
segment.
column every week out of Joel.
This sounds
Dear
like
Joel.
I'm just
All
happy
right.
the cops have not driven by this trip.
To leave us an audio message, or if you would like a date with Joel, please call our number.
Here we go.
Shazam!
What? You got to have a nice dog.
Dog.
Yeah,
dog,
I got a female.
dog,
I got
dog.
a female husky, 45 pounds, very friendly, 9 years old,
Tinder profile.
the cutest thing in the world.
Joel's
It's in my
Tinder profile is a picture of the dog.
Joel, are you on Tinder? Are you on
man.
Humble? What are you on?
You on any Tinder?
I can't even work Facebook. I mean, I don't even.
Do you
work it,
remember
dude.
you guys used to do this with Kristen Mingle?
Kristen Mingle. We need Joel Mingle.
we need Joel
Well,
Mingle.
how did you meet the last one?
Farmers only.
I'm thinking I'm missing something here.
I
and why?
Oh, because
I
you
wanna-
were Mayberry didn't get internet till last year. So
Good point. But if my dog can get me some ass, I'm in. Did I say that out loud?
Okay. I'm going to start Caller number 7048.
I've never heard that before.
Sorry, TJ.
If my dog.
704
Hey, I'm telling you.
802 9572. Send us a message for Joel.
Consumer Cellular is the official wireless partner of Brad Keselowski, RFK Racing, and the number 6 car.
And if they can count on Consumer Cellular, you can too.
Brett Keselowski and RFK Racing, no speed, and that's just what you get with Consumer Cellular.
Consumer Cellular has award-winning 100% U.S.-based customer service centers, so you can always get the help you need. It's like having your own pit crew right where you need them.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as leading carriers, but with plans starting just as low as $20 a month.
There are no activation fees and no contracts. Consumer Cellular customers stay because they want to, not because they have to. They don't need to trap their customers.
You can even try Consumer Cellular for 30 days risk-free. If you don't love it, cancel it, but they bet you'll love it.
And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month for free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. That's promo code MONTHFREE at consumercellular.com. So what are you waiting for? See consumercellular.com for promotional details.
Moving on to Ask DBC. Don't forget, send in your questions on X. Each week, we will keep asking these guys the best ones. First one is from Easton. With how well Noah Gragson has been running lately, do y'all see him making it to the playoffs?
No.
Why not?
Going to have to win.
He is definitely going to have to win, and he is 50 points out, I would say. I'm guessing 40-something, maybe 50. And they got were they one of the ones that got a penalty earlier in the year?
Yes.
They were.
Yes.
They were.
Yes.
I mean, that's a huge, that's a race. You know, that's essentially they took a race away from.
What it was, 25 points or something?
What I'm saying, what did he get yesterday? Yeah. What did he get yesterday? You know, I mean, he got 30-something maybe.
I hope he makes it. I truly do. I hope he makes it because he's good for the sport.
The way he's run, he should make it.
He will give more time. He is the Richard Petty in today's world in terms of giving his time up for fans, and he's got a great fan base, and I hope he makes it, but he's going to have to win.
I know the kid went to Missouri to Bass Pro, was hanging out with those people just from what I heard from my friends this weekend, and a little kid was fishing with a pink hat on. That's why you saw that whole crew with pink hats on this weekend.
Oh, that's cool.
Noah will get out there, you know, and it's a lost art with some of the drivers, you know, that it's gotten smaller, but he obviously he's trying to build his brand back.
Yeah.
And Bass Pro is a big sponsor,
Noah
especially in my world.
Noah is a good kid.
I think so too.
He made a stupid mistake last year.
That's the
we've
entire
all
life
done
that me and you both have lived.
We've all done it, and he made a mistake and he owned it, and he's recovering from that now. But the best way to recover from it, we talked about this with Kyle Larson.
It's to drive your ass off.
Kyle Larson
and finish top 10.
Kyle Larson made a dumb mistake 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, and came
and
back
now
out.
he drives around you on the right side on the last lap.
Yeah, and all you could do is get back in there and bear down. And Noah has made some changes in his personal life. It seems like to me anyway.
You know, it's almost enjoyable to see because some people get on that side of it and never get back, and the ones that do get back, it's great to see.
Absolutely.
You know, and especially for that team,
Noah,
those guys.
we
are
talk
really
about it
working hard.
whether or not it's a race. He got I'm assuming he got a 25-point penalty for that deal.
I think it was 25.
He had a great race yesterday. We can all agree.
Oh yeah,
31 points.
Top 10. He's got 3 top 10s in a row. I think
He got 31 points yesterday. He had stage points in both stages, 9th and 10th, and got 31 points. So that's essentially taking a race away from these guys.
Yeah, I'm with Brett. I'm looking at the points here, and Noah is 19th. He's got Daniel Suarez in front of him.
Which doesn't matter. Suarez got to win.
Logano. I'm just telling you, like, these are the guys I'm just reading the names off here. So you got Logano, Wallace, Brad, Briscoe, and Bell.
The farther you go,
it's harder.
You got to win.
Yes.
You know,
and we said it last week. If you were below 7, like if you were below, we were 16th and 17th, I think, or 15th, 16th, me and TJ. And if you were below that, you almost need to win. Like Bubba can kind of point his way in because we are very close to them. And
I mean,
close
those guys are hoping in that situation that Kyle Larson and Denny win the rest of them. Yeah. So it's not about wins. It's about points, and you get there somehow. But
for sure.
Matt had a great question. If you guys were introducing NASCAR to someone, what race would you send a YouTube link to and why?
For me, it's hard. I saw this question last night, and we used to talk about Bristol races. The best race ever was the Darlington, Craven, Kurt Busch race. But it's hard to send somebody to that because I don't know you're ever going to see that again. I mean, we had a great race last night,
But this car doesn't relate to. So you got to pick stuff from this generation of car. What like now would be last night. Now last night would be the benchmark for this car. I think that was the best race we've ever had with this car. So if you're the greatest race in the history of NASCAR is, I think, that Darlington race where Kurt and Craven are beating their doors off coming down the straightaway. But you can't send it to somebody and go, you're going to get this every week.
I think that's what makes it racing. You're never going to know the best race.
And they're not all going to be good.
Like I'm in towards the back because I started in the back, but I'm watching them guys swap the lead yesterday, just like lap after lap after lap, like it was coming to the checkered, and we're not even halfway through stage one, and these guys are racing like something really. You got to be at the races. You never know when it's going to be the best one, whether it's Darlington next week or.
Yeah, you don't know.
Wilkesboro the week after? Or?
Yeah, I think the history plays into the story of what place you take them to. I mean, Bristol hung its hat on the night race. Daytona hung its hat on the 1978 Daytona 500 when you had 3 channels back then, and it was, obviously a highly watched race. You look at Darlington, which I feel like is our Fenway of NASCAR. So for me, it's not just about the race. It's about the history, the experience, the drivers that have won there. I mean, I'll never forget the opportunity I had to walk into the Brickyard, and this was in 1999, and having watched, obviously, the first NASCAR race ever, which I think was in 1994, having watched so many Indy 500s, just having the opportunity to walk in there was, like, humbling. So for me, it's more about the story of the venue, the story of the drivers that have won, and the product that's going to be on the track, Casey. But, like, I've never, and this is probably a arrogant statement to make, but I've never engaged I've never engaged a fan that I took to their first race or hosted them at their first race, and they say, "Man, this sucks. I'm never coming back." Everybody's like, "I had no idea all of this went into this. I thought it was cars going around in a circle. I thought it was cars going left." When they find out the amount of passion and people and history and effort that it takes to do what we do, they love it.
It's fun to watch their hair stand up. These people that first, third time when they come there and they don't.
Yeah.
I think it's a case by case basis, and this happened long before I knew Brett, knew Elliott. One of my favorite races to ever watch, and I'd go back and watch it again, was that I think it was 2001 Bristol when you guys are on old tires. Yep. Elliott's driving his ass off, because I came from I was born into racing,
running in every corner like he was on water.
And he's in the Wood Brothers car, and he's hanging on for dear life, trying to hang on to this win in the Wood Brothers car, which is God knows it's a storied history of that. And
what have they had since then? 2 wins, maybe.
Well, Blaney won a hand, or maybe 1 or 2. Yeah, you're probably right.
They're trying to get 100. I'm not trying to interrupt you, Freddie, but they're trying to get 100. But Elliott was one of their best ones.
Yeah, but that race for me was one of the ones, because I was from Riverhead, a short track background, and you just know that guy's out there on old tires driving his ass off. And so it's a case. So if it's a short track guy, like if it's somebody that was coming from Riverhead that watched race their whole life, it's like, hey, let's go to Bristol and watch this, or you kind of. But it's case by case basis, like. My first answer is always, where do I got to go to Daytona 500?
I mean, even the racing at North Wilkesboro last year in the Cup cars was subpar, but the exposure and the synergy and the environment was phenomenal. Like, you couldn't have been in a better place where fans were more excited. Same thing for LA Coliseum the first year. I mean, when I came back full time that year, I was most excited about going to LA and getting the opportunity to compete. And
me too.
Same deal, man. You had a whole new environment for NASCAR out there. So
we saw this, and I know you weren't there, and I don't know if you were there or not. When we went to Chicago, the first time in that main spotter stand that I forget which car it was,
leaning
went down.
over a rail, looking down.
I mean, the people behind us that were first time seeing a car, they were like, holy, like. Whoa, there's and they were pumped.
It's like going to Mexico City back in the day when we first got down there, or we ran those road course races, or we go to Canada. Some of these people's never seen it.
It's genuine excitement.
I got news for you.
It's so exciting.
Back in the day is coming back.
Well, I hope so. I was one of the naysayers. I know y'all can't believe that, but I've watched the stands fill up a little bit this year, and I'm hopeful. for you guys that are still doing it?
I think next year, like we always kind of hint at rumors here. I think next year we get our Easter off weekend back.
I think they make the schedule more simple.
Here's where you got to be, and this is to your one race, and we can hash this out for a minute if you want.
Yep.
Richmond is going to lose a date. I think they're going to lose a date to Mexico City. And now it's not. I don't think we're going to Mexico City on Easter. I think Easter is going to be an off week. But do you really want that? I know we bash Richmond because the racing's not great, but do you really want to go from Richmond to a road course? Is my problem.
I don't think you want to go to the woods from Richmond, but if you just back it down to 30 races.
That ain't happening.
I know that, Brett. But if you just backed it down to 30 races and ran good venues and got some spacing in there, you make people want more. You know what I mean? You got to want them to come.
Freddie, would you like to kick off?
I would love to kick it off because this is somebody that I know likes to call people out. And whether it was his fault, his driver's fault, or his crew chief's fault, I've got to call out my good friend, Brett Griffin. Because something that we have called people out for on this show, he did yesterday. You're a penalty car, and you f***ed up the choose, Brett.
I'm sorry.
So did 99.
Is it my fault or is it their
I don't
fault?
know. Is it your fault? I mean, I heard off of 4. Get the 33 out of there.
Yeah.
Get the 33 out of there, and the 33 chose.
Well, I'm going to tell you who told him. The crew chief told him. I had radio problems on my channel, too.
Oh,
here we go.
Yeah.
And
we all have radio problems, actually, honestly.
Talladega.
I literally looked at Tim Fedewa during a caution cycle. And again, I'm not doing this. I'll be the first on this. I don't do this every week. The cadence, all the things. I literally looked at Tim Fedewa. I was like, did they say quickie yellow? And he said, I don't know. And I said, pit road light needs to be green if it's open, red if it's closed, and orange if it's a quickie yellow.
Flashing green
We need our own code because I'm not getting all the freaking transmissions. My struggle was, and as we all know, it's different at every racetrack. If my crew chief was talking on Channel 1 yesterday or the driver was talking and NASCAR said anything, I heard nothing. Like I didn't even hear him key up. So
in your defense, as
Don't
a good friend of
defend
mine,
him, Joel. I'm going to punch you in the face.
The cautions should be the same every time. There should be no quickie yellow. Why is there a quickie yellow?
Just rushing.
Yesterday we ran a quickie yellow and then we
Because
ran
we're
another.
on a 3-hour delay. We ran 17 laps to clean up one car off the apron, and then we go quickie yellow. And make all those cars pit with the lap down cars is done.
Well, so Brett's point
by the
is
time the
because
official
I got to drive by you again.
So
to get fuel.
Walking you fans through the experience, we're relying on NASCAR radio, which I didn't hear. Then we're relying on an official to come tell us, which we have 2 on the roof. The official got to me after Keith Rodden told me and the driver that we were under penalty. The official should have already been down there to tell me. So I 100%, we were in the middle of the choose. Sorry it screwed you guys up. If you're on the bottom lane behind me, congratulations, you got a free spot.
I did better because of you, and I love you, Brett.
There are tiered things that are supposed to happen here, and to be quite honest with you, I'm glad Keith heard it because I did not hear it.
Yeah.
I tried to choose the bottom because I saw Brett choose the bottom. I'm like, we're going to move up a lane here.
Yeah.
Brad went to the top. It worked out for us, but I
I
was
said
like,
all day, it's even in front of you. Take which one you want.
Well, that's about what it was. My what an idiot was going to be Jordan Bianchi. Now it's Jordan Bianchi and Freddie Kraft because there's no sporting venue that I've never not gone to because it's too cold.
My what an idiot is, we started the race 3 hours after it was supposed to start. And for the first 12 laps, the spotters got to hear every radio check in the garage. Cleanup 1, cleanup 2, cleanup 3, fire truck 2, 35. Mixed. I'm 3 wide, and these are on channel 2 or NASCAR's channel going. You've had 3 hours to do a radio check. Everybody's been there for 12 hours. What in the hell?
This is weird because I literally heard none of this.
Do you not? You didn't hear this?
I don't think I heard.
No,
this.
I didn't hear a word.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. Lap 10.
Were you scanning NASCAR
No,
channels?
it was just NASCAR 1. That's all I got. I got no. I got no.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I never heard any of this either.
You must have a special channel.
No, I have zero.
They must let you
know
dial
what?
in.
Hey, this would be the perfect world of NASCAR is if Joel Edmonds could talk to the tower.
Could you imagine?
Joel Edmonds should be the tower.
He would have lost his hard card.
I'm
a long
telling
time
you,
ago.
people will tell y'all tomorrow when they.
I didn't hear
maybe
any of
today,
this.
but.
So you're hearing radio check.
It was 10 laps into the Cup race.
So, and
when they stop asking cleanup
and
two,
to
if
your
you can hear
credit,
'em.
this happens usually like the parade laps.
Yeah.
40 minutes before the race.
They
radio
call
check.
this in,
I
but
thought
didn't
it
hear
was annoying, but maybe.
You're the only one who heard it.
You're the only one who heard it. I mean, I would have
No,
given it.
everybody heard it. If you were on NASCAR,
I didn't hear
cleanup two, you got it. You got me.
I love
Joel was at a different track.
there's a.
I was
they
at
have-
South
we have-
Boston.
the problem is we also have 7 different channels to listen to NASCAR on.
Yeah, which one you on
It's
this week?
one,
We're
one
on
direct, 8 direct,
we're
10,
on
11,
Mega
whatever
5B.
But that's because
plus.
they're looking for the cleanest frequency. It's the dirtiest frequencies. Fans.
We've had more radio trouble. TJ, have you had radio trouble this year?
I have.
No,
Like
you have
every-
zero radio trouble at Talladega.
Yeah.
I didn't even go, and I couldn't hear y'all.
Yeah, I was like
Channel
we
2
have
will not
more
work.
radio trouble this year than anywhere else we've ever had.
All right, TJ, what an idiot.
He ain't got no idea.
Yeah, I was just saying, we could go.
Don't make it be me.
No, you want to go? I'll just let you have it for the truck race.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Yes.
So-
you might as well leave. I know you don't got time for this.
I do want to listen though.
Well,
I want to hear live.
I had Cam Waters in the truck race.
Mate.
He's running his
Good kid, mate.
Yeah. Thank you, mate. Am I clear? This guy's running his second race, and he's trying to, do the.
How old is Cam? Is he a young guy or
he's young.
mid
He's young.
20s or?
I think he's maybe 25.
Okay.
So I'm, he's my kid.
But I'm saying, he's a younger than SVG.
Oh yeah. Running a race, never been off the bottom, trying to run. We run down the 38 truck.
Lane rigs.
Yeah, lane rigs.
Good luck.
I remember running his dad down about 30 years ago with Biffle every week. About 2 laps down.
You're already mad.
We run this guy down.
You're already mad because of his dad.
Well, I mean,
just knew what to
it is what it is.
You
I'm
knew what
short,
to expect.
I'm short, he's short, and I get the short deal being mad. But we run this guy down from 7 seconds, and he's running the top.
7 seconds
Both
is
ends.
a straightaway.
7 seconds is a lifetime. So we run him down, and then when we get there, he starts that up and down, up and down, up and down. And my guy can't run off the bottom. He's run the simulator. He has no idea. Can't run. I mean, I can get him a car width up. So we come to the checkered, and we're banging and beating for 18th and wreck 2 trucks. Not wreck them, but tear the bodies off of them.
Yeah.
For no reason. And I just don't get that. The aero racing is just not smart. It'll never be smart,
It's never going to be, yeah.
but I'm an idiot, maybe.
Maybe it's you. I mean, you
No,
are.
it's me.
You are
It's-
an idiot.
It's 100.
You are an idiot. But I would never.
I'm 100% an idiot.
When I saw that this was going on pit road, I go, these guys are fighting about. Like, Lane Riggs should never be fighting Cam Waters.
we leave the racetrack after the race. I don't know who won the race. Who won the truck race?
Heim. Best car all
Hauling
day. Should have
ass.
won the race.
And the first 3 tweets from NASCAR Craftsman, whoever the hell it is,
Chasm. Yeah.
is my guy and his guy, or their guy waving arms and my guy standing there talking.
That's what sells. That's what sells.
But I
clicks.
was proud of my guy. I got his helmet off first. He was ready to go.
Quick picks.
I go first, right?
Yep.
So
Why?
He finished.
DBC
last.
picks. TJ, if you don't take Tyler Reddick, Freddie's going to take him. He's going to win again. Chris Buescher, Alex Bowman.
Are you picking or are you just?
I don't know. I'm trying to talk myself
dang.
into it.
Lottery.
You know the word
Lottery.
quick picks?
Buescher.
I'll take. Go ahead, Casey. You
I'll
can't.
take Larson.
That's a win. Big win.
All right, if you're doing that,
Locked in.
I'm going Eric Jones.
That was done.
I'll take Joey Logano.
Sorry. That's
Oh,
what
he
I was
didn't
gonna
take
say.
him. Casey, congratulations. You're going to get your second win of the year.
Are these
who'd you
guys
take?
even trying?
I think that's
Larson.
second best.
Are they trying?
I would
Look,
take
you see the
Eric. I'm
scores?
taking Eric Jones with TJ.
Do you see the scores, Joel?
I don't care
It's
about the scores.
6-4 to 1
Okay,
to
well,
1.
I'm
Are you
trying my
guys?
best.
Are you guys playing?
Trying
You're
my
gonna
best,
win this
guys.
week.
All right.
I do not cheat.
Darlington. What shall we expect?
There's a nice TJ. Give me a weather report.
I haven't any. Oh, it looked cold.
Cold,
What?
Darlington.
Yeah,
cold
it looked like
out
your
there?
weather.
I love cold.
Are you going?
I think I'm going to go Saturday.
For what? Are you
Chandler?
working or?
I think I'm going to try to go to the Gamecock baseball game Friday night and then go to the
Are we in the College World
race
Series?
Saturday. No, we're playing Georgia in just a weekend tournament thingy. But I listen, Darlington is one of my favorite tracks. There's so much to do when you get to Darlington.
Throwback weekend.
You're an hour from the beach. You're an hour from Columbia. You're an hour from Charlotte. Obviously, tons of stuff in Charlotte to do. So it's sweet spot on the schedule. Joel says all the tracks only deserve one race. I don't disagree with him for the most part. Darlington deserves two. I love the difference between the 400 and the Southern 500. This is my favorite Xfinity Series race of the year. It's a 147 lapper. It's no holds barred. You can't wait. You got to go. Like this is an awesome weekend for NASCAR.
I lied.
Nice.
It's Friday 81 and cloudy, Saturday 76, Sunday 77, sunny both Saturday and Sunday.
Joel.
What was
Joel,
Friday again?
81 and cloudy.
Joel.
That's my kind of deal. I'm a one-day show.
Thank you for coming today.
Yeah.
How do you want a parting word? I mean, you're going to come back this year at some point. So.
I'll come anytime you guys need.
I
me.
know.
You know.
You got any parting words before we? I got one thing I got to kick it to, but do you have any parting words? Nothing.
Just enjoy being here.
Obviously, before the end of this show, I need to take a minute to think about my buddy Glenn Dixon. Just a overall racer, one of the best guys on the planet. We lost him this week, and one of Tommy Baldwin's right hand man, and just like I said, a racer's racer, modified guy through and through, tire guy through and through. Just somebody we're gonna miss dearly. Just a great guy. Nobody's ever had a bad word to say about Dixon, and we're gonna miss him a lot. Rest in peace, Glenn Dixon.
Casey, we have to kick it. I got to kick it to somebody here in a second, but you want to say goodbye for anything or? Evan, if anybody watched DJD Reloaded last week, Evan is apparently a voice actor.
He did phenomenal.
So, Evan,
Phenomenal.
I want you to take us out with a thanks for listening in whatever voice you want to kick it off to.
Go European, Evan.
Thanks, Evan.
It's Mr. Worldwide. Thanks for listening.
That was a rapper,
That
Evan.
was Pitbull. That was a
Yeah,
Pitbull.
That was awesome. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks, Joel, for joining us.
We out. Holla.